So you're thinking about moving to Boise, Idaho. Whether you're relocating for work or trying to find the right place to raise a family or retire, then this video is going to be a very comprehensive guide that gives you a very clear picture of what living in Boise, Idaho would be like. So I'm Craig Flood, and my goal is to help you understand Idaho. And this video is really going to be a montage of all my best videos on Boise, Idaho. We're going to go over things like the pros and cons of Boise, Idaho. We're going to be doing a walking tour, 2 different bike tours. We'll cover 10 things to do in Boise, Idaho. We're going to do kind of a unique map tour, and I'm going to hit on all the reasons why you might not want to move to Idaho. Plus, me and my wife are going to share our story about what caused us to move here sight unseen. And if you need clarity about where to live in Idaho, you got questions about the lifestyle and the fit, then my contact information is down below, also in the description. Call, text, or email, days, nights, or weekends, anytime. All right, let's get into it. We're gonna kick things off with the pros and cons of Boise, Idaho. Boise, Idaho is a small city. The whole area, Boise and all the suburbs around it, ultimately the Treasure Valley, you're looking at like a total population of 800,000. Now, if we compare that to some other larger cities, just cities on their own, you'll see that, again, Boise and even the surrounding cities, it's just not that large of an area. And I just pulled some up here. So like Los Angeles, 3.9 million, Phoenix, Arizona, 1.6 million. And those are just those cities, not the larger metropolitan area. San Diego, 1.4 million, San Jose, 1 million, San Francisco, 800,000, Denver, Colorado, the city itself, 740,000, Seattle, 740,000. So you can kind of see that, again, this area, it's not one of the biggest cities on the West Coast. It is small. But again, this is a pro. So I'm saying it's small and that it's a pro, and this is why you might like that. So for example, say you wanted to drive all the way across the valley, all the way from, say, Caldwell on the far west side and southeast Boise on the far east side. Right now, if you were to make that drive, you're looking at 35 to 40 minutes on Interstate 84. So the benefit of it being small is that it's just not that large. You can easily get around. Now, again, when talking about a small city, we are going to miss out on some things. My wife and I were talking about it this morning. Yes, you're going to miss out on like IKEA. To IKEA! We became accustomed to that when we lived in Portland, Oregon. It was really nice to go to IKEA to grab something for the kids' room, or go get a nice new lamp, or drop the kids off and kind of take a break and go eat the cheap food in the cafeteria. Yum. We don't have that here. You got to drive to Portland for that. You got to drive to Salt Lake City or Seattle, but you're not going to get that here in the Treasure Valley. Shucks. But what you are going to get is the small town feel. And now I will even say this as a caveat. I have talked to some of you who have thought about moving to Boise, Idaho, and even you would say, it's too big, it's too bustling, it's just not what I want. And you tend to maybe keep heading east towards Twin Falls, Pocatello, Idaho Falls. But I just put that in as a caveat because even for some of you, Boise just feels too big and the whole area surrounding it. It's just too big. Again, let's just say that you end up moving here and you choose Boise or one of the surrounding cities. Often I talk with people and they're attracted to Boise, but they actually end up moving into one of the suburbs like Meridian or Eagle or Star. But let's just say you did move to Boise proper. When you live here, for you to get to certain things, whether that's schooling options, entertainment, grocery stores like Trader Joe's or Winco or Costco, it just doesn't take that long. The traffic is not unbearable. A lot of times you can just be on city streets and you don't have to get on an interstate. The next pro for Boise, Idaho is going to be those 4 seasons. The 4 seasons are great, and I would imagine you probably love it or hate it, but let me give you my reason why I think you may love it. Welcome to Boise's first real good snow. So here we go. What do you say? That's about 3 inches? 3 inches of snow? This is kind of what a snow day looks like here in Boise. So here we have all 4 seasons. We don't have an endless summer. You have to have multiple outfits when you come here. You have your summer clothes, you have your winter clothes, and then you have your in-between clothes. I was talking to a family who just recently moved here from the East Coast where it was like the same kind of weather all the time. They're like, yep, we wore shorts, we wore polos. That was all that we wore. And then they moved here and now they're like having to shop and get the right kind of clothes and figuring out how to layer things so that they can handle the 4 seasons. But with that being said, in addition to summer, right, you're getting spring, fall, and winter. And winter is really unique here in Boise, Idaho, especially compared to the rest of Idaho. First, winter doesn't last forever. Second, when it snows here, that also doesn't last forever. So it's not like there's just snow piles hanging out around town turning brown all winter long. Ugh. The sun's gonna come along and melt them. We're high desert here in Boise and southern Idaho, and so we do get a lot of sun days in the winter, which is lovely. You will get some cast over days where maybe you have an inversion happening, or maybe a storm's rolling in that's bringing all the great snow for Bogus Basin, so that if you like skiing, you can go up there and ski, and it's gonna drop a few inches down in the valley. For example, just this morning when I woke up, I'd say we had about 3 to 4 inches. But it's lovely, it's just a nice change of pace. I personally love driving in the snow. But again, it's not gonna last forever. Within a few days or a week, it'll most likely melt and go away. But you can't really say that about a lot of other places in Idaho. One other thing to note, and this is really in comparison to other cities here in southern Idaho, is that Boise is not that windy. If you're considering other places like Twin Falls, Pocatello, Idaho Falls, there's a lot of wind that whips through that area. It's a bit windy! There's some pros that come alongside that, but ultimately, I would say it's a con. And if you're somebody who's considering other cities kind of along this southern section of Idaho, that would be something to consider. And I would add that as a pro to Boise, that, hey, it doesn't get super windy here. Next for pros of living in Boise, Idaho is gonna be the outdoors. And first, I wanna highlight the crown jewel. There might be 2 crown jewels, but I'm gonna say the Boise River, which is just cutting straight through the heart of Boise. Straight through the heart of town, all the way up to Lucky Peak, all the way out past Eagle and into Oregon. But the Boise River cuts through the whole Treasure Valley. So here we are on the Boise River. I had just finished up a doctor's appointment. I'm on my way back to the office, and I'm gonna fish maybe for like 20 minutes. And there's just so many great spots along the river, either to fish or ride a bike, or you can see here some kids were probably playing and kind of made a hangout area. So the river's just got so much to offer, and we're gonna see if I can pull any fish out today. And when me and my family relocated here, this was a huge, huge bonus. We had looked at other towns, like Bend, Oregon was an option that we looked at. I love that the Deschutes River cut through that city in Oregon. But ultimately, Boise came to the top for a couple of reasons. You're hearing a lot of my reasons in this video, but the river was definitely one of them. This is a great place for you to cool off in the summer, go play with the kids, go rafting, go swimming, go bridge jumping, go kayaking in, go boogie boarding in, go surfing in, and it's ultimately just beautiful. So there's so many ways for you to enjoy the river here in Boise. It's not like everybody just built a bunch of $1 million mansions on the river and you and I don't get access to it. The city did a really good job of making it accessible to us. And then all along the river, there's such great amenities, whether it's parks for you to go play at, restaurants, wineries, all sorts of things that make enjoying that river really easy and super fun in the summertime. Now let's continue that topic of the outdoors. I just got off a call this week with a couple moving over from the Carolinas, and one of the reasons they're coming is because they want to be close to the outdoors. They want to be close to the Boise River. They want to be close to the foothills. They want to be close to hiking. They want to be close to being able to hop in a car and just kind of getting out into the wilderness. I love that too as a dad. I love being able to throw my kids in a car and saying, hey, pretty much pick a direction and we can find something to do. Whether it's rafting a river, whether it's exploring new sections of areas of Idaho that we haven't explored before, and finding hot springs and doing fishing and camping.
This is so fun.
Within short order of driving, even 30 minutes, you can get into some really, really beautiful, beautiful areas. The next pro is gonna be the time zone. So Idaho is cut up into 2 different time zones. The northern half of Idaho is Pacific Standard Time. So right now it's 3:30 here in Boise, which means in like Moscow and Coeur d'Alene, it's 2:30 p.m. So think about that in relation to the sun. In the wintertime, if it's getting dark up there at 4:30, it's getting dark here at 5:30. So in the wintertime, we have light a little bit longer than they do. Now, granted, obviously then the sun doesn't rise as early in the morning, but in the wintertime, we get light longer into the day. And in the summertime, same thing, we also get light longer into the day. So maybe up in northern Idaho, it's getting dark at 9, but here it's getting dark at 10, which is really hard to put your kids down when it's getting dark at 10. That's when you're like hanging the blankets up and telling your children, hey, it's not light outside, don't think about it. I remember as a kid, it was always the hardest to go to bed when it was light outside. It felt like pure torture. So that is unique. We are just right up against that time zone. So if you were to jump into Oregon, they'd flip. And so we're just really, really close to it. So there's some interesting pros and cons about being there, but I sure do like having more light in the winter. And I love having those long evenings in the summer. Now, what you came here for, the cons. Let's talk about the cons. The reason I tell you these, I try to think as hard as I can about them because, again, I want to help you guys decide if Boise should be on your list or if it shouldn't be on your list. And ultimately, I want you to say, hey, I'm okay with those cons, or I can deal with those, or best case scenario, you don't even see them as cons. So let's jump into the cons to help you decide if Boise is going to be a good option. Boise is growing. And this has a lot of ripple effects. It has a ripple effect on the cost of housing, right? The demand is going up, prices are shooting up. So that's going to be a con of the growth, but it's also changing. I think Boise is going to look a lot different in 10 years because you have a huge influx of people coming in that are just kind of bringing a different culture with them about how they live, the way they vote, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of locals are worried about that, where you have a lot of people coming in from California and they're worried about how are you voting? How are you going to do things here? Please don't change our city. And so you have some people who come here and say, oh, I don't think I want to be along for that ride. Maybe Boise isn't right for me. Maybe I want to choose another city that is more like old Idaho that hasn't changed in 30 years. And so obviously with growth comes a lot of things. There's a lot of new construction, a lot of infrastructure. But I'm definitely going to put this as a con. Hopefully, as you're considering a move, you're wanting to stick it out there for 10 plus years. And ultimately, just know that if you come here, things are changing. Now, a positive of that is that if you buy here and things continue to rise, it's going to do really good for you in real estate, which will set you up well for your next move, whether it's a purchase here, or whether it's a purchase to another city in Idaho or another state. It's always good to buy in a place that, people desire and want to live. All right, next up on the cons is going to be isolation. Boise is isolated. Now, earlier when I talked about the pro of saying, hey, it's kind of a small town and it doesn't take that long to drive from one side to the other. Now let's kind of talk about that. It is a small town, but once you get out of that, there's like nothing. Yes, you have some smaller towns. You have Mountain Home, you have Twin Falls, Pocatello, but really your major areas outside of that are like the Spokane area way up north next to Coeur d'Alene. You have Salt Lake City, and then you have Portland, Seattle. Those are like some major areas. So once you make your way out of the Treasure Valley, that's kind of it. You're kind of isolated. It can feel isolating. Again, you might feel cut off from some amenities. This is something me and my family considered when we moved here. One thing that made it okay is the fact that Boise has a really good airport. So that'd be the one caveat to this, because if you move here and say you're moving from California, your family's not coming with you. If you pick some other cities in Idaho, depending on where you go, it may or may not have a good airport, which might make it more difficult for people to come visit you. So for example, this holiday, my family came in from Seattle. It was about an hour flight for them to get to Seattle to Boise. And then when they left, it was such a nice experience for them. Their flight left at 7 p.m. I dropped them off at the airport at 6. They had about an hour, and it was very lovely. They walked straight through security. It was very simple. My mom called me when she got back, and she said, hey, that was really great, which is nice for me because I don't want travel to be a headache for people. I want to make it easy for them to come visit or for us to leave and go visit people. But a con for you, and again, you have to chew on this, is that you could feel isolated if you move here, and that might be a reason that you choose something else. So make sure you consider that. Next on the con list is going to be hot summers. 2 years ago, roughly for about a month, we hit over 100 degrees. And that was hot. Like, that was hot for me. It was the kind of weather where you're like, I'm not going to go out midday. I'm going to do some things in the morning and I'm going to do some things in the evening. But midday, unless I'm going to go surf the river and put some sunscreen on, I might just sit this one out. Boise is not the most temperate city to choose, right? This upcoming week, we're in January right now. You can see we're coming into some colder weather. We got 4 degrees, 5 degrees, 2 degrees, 1 degree. And so you do see we fluctuate all the way from, let's say, 0 to 100, right? That's a big spread. And so I know I said hot summers, but you can have hot summers and you can also have cold winters. So you just need to be ready for that spread. And it doesn't stay 0 forever, and it doesn't stay 100 forever. And in fact, that was a really hot summer where we were over 100. I mean, it was hot for everybody in the Pacific Northwest, northern Idaho, Seattle, all these places, which isn't necessarily the norm, but it can happen. And so just know that's on the table if you decide to move here. You take the good, you take the bad, you take the ugly. It's all yours when you move here. So again, hopefully you're getting a taste for what that's going to be if you choose Boise. Another con of living in Boise, Idaho is that you have to shovel snow. This means when it snows outside, you got to get up, you got to figure it out. Technically, you got to get those sidewalks cleared off by 9 a.m. And you're either going to get a shovel or a snow blower. I'd encourage you to get a shovel unless you really want a snow blower. It doesn't snow like this all the time, but when it does, you got to go get it taken care of. Now, maybe you don't mind shoveling snow, but I'm definitely going to put this in the con category. Granted, Boise doesn't get a ton of snow like other places in Idaho, but we do get it, and today is definitely one of those days. But again, I'd imagine that this snow is going to be gone in a week anyway, so I honestly don't mind. It's a good way to wake up in the morning. Some of you I know like to wake up, you like to expose yourself to the sun and get that vitamin D. This is a good way to get that vitamin D. Get out there, shovel the snow, break a sweat, say hi to your neighbors, shovel the old lady's driveway next to you, and make a nice community where you live. If you borrowed somebody's sugar, then you should go shovel their driveway one morning before they wake up.
So I'm heading out to meet my wife for dinner, but I just wanted to show you what the conditions are like. The snow's been hanging around for a little while. So this is what things look like, It's nice to have some boots. You gotta watch out for ice, you don't wanna slip. Also, this is Bounds Crossing here in Boise, really great. We've got a tavern right there, kids' candy store that they love going to, and I'm going to the Boise Fry Company tonight.
All right, now let's go for a walking tour of downtown Boise.
I am downtown right now. The Boise River's right behind me, and we're gonna start walking around, so here we go. So just to give you guys some reference, that's gonna be downtown that way. We got the Boise Zoo right over there. This is part of the Greenbelt, the biking path. Boise State University is right across the river, and right now we just did a whole circle. This is gonna be one of the main drags that cuts into town. And currently they're doing construction, but I thought I'd take a moment and just start right here under the bridge. I just kind of want to show you guys what you might see if you were to walk around this area. So we got the Boise River down there and a shopping cart and some bags. And then it looks like some sleeping bags. And then if we walk over here, we're going to cut across. So something else that you may have seen down there too is I kind of saw a guy taking a nap under the bridge. Again, you don't always see a ton of that in Boise, but it is here if you look around. You have people who sometimes go camping. So again, downtown in the Capitol building is going to be that direction north, and we're going to kind of weave through here. But first, we're going to cut across. And again, right here, we're on the Greenbelt. If you're curious to know more about the Greenbelt, I did a cycling tour of the Greenbelt in my last video. And I took you guys kind of all around along the river, and we saw food trucks and all things like that. So be sure to check that out if you're interested to learn more about the Greenbelt. But ultimately, it's a paved and unpaved path that runs all the way from Boise to Lucky Peak, which is behind us, and it goes all the way out to Eagle, Idaho, which is on the other side of the valley here. So we got some construction going on today. And we're also going to be right here next to the library. Also, there's an old train trestle right there that they use as a pathway to get across the river. You'll see that in a couple different ways, that sometimes you can cross on the road, but then other times you can just get dedicated areas like that to cross. And I am literally just trying to find a way to get up into the city, but I just see tons of construction everywhere. So we're just going to keep walking one more and then we'll cut up. But another beautiful day here in Boise. I'll kind of poke over this railing here too so you guys can see what's down there. I got a kid skateboarding. Again, the university is really close to downtown, so it's a very active city, young and old. Guy's kind of looking like the Terminator. Okay, let's go check this out. So this is going to be 9th Street above us. If you were to travel down that road, it would take you all the way to the Boise airport. But again, right, we're in a covered area. I think in a lot of major cities around the US, you would see this place just covered in tents, and you would never come down to something like this. This is going to be the Boise River. Beautiful, beautiful river. Fun to swim in, fun to fish, fun to float. We'll cut back up this way and we'll work our way out. A little bit of trash, but honestly, the river levels are really high. You can kind of see the level the river was right there. You kind of see trails through here. Again, more trails that go all the way back. In fact, let's go check that out real quick. Got a little creek that cuts through here. Looks like somebody's camping right over there. Really pretty area down here though. Okay, let's go jump this handrail up here. So that was a bit of the river. Again, you guys kind of see what that looks like. And a lot of you guys, when you reach out asking about the area, there's often a lot of questions around safety. I think a lot of it stems from the city that you might be moving from, not feeling safe. And hopefully I'm giving you guys an honest view of what it's like here. But now we're kind of moving in away from this, and I'm gonna jaywalk. But we're gonna start making our way up now. We're gonna keep moving closer and closer to the Capitol building. And I might swing over and show you guys a new hotel that came into town. They have a new rooftop patio, and things I think about with that, I think it's called the Renegade. But when a new place like that comes in, it's just fun because one, could be a fun staycation if you guys move here and you want to go downtown, or if you want to go eat, or if you're coming on a scouting trip and you want to stay at a place that's maybe on that nicer end, then that could be a really good option for you too. So that's going to be the Boise Library right there. Lots of apartments and condos downtown. Got some really cool places with some rooftop decks as well. Here we got Goldstein's Bagels. I'm not a huge fan of their bagels. I think there's another place in town, I think it's called Blue Sky, that does a bit better. So if you're into bagels, I think they do a good job. Let's see, so today's Wednesday. It's about 4 p.m. and you'll see we have lots of parking downtown. You got pay for park right here off. You got street parking. Nice thing about the city too is that if you come park here, you can, I'll pull it up and show you on a meter. You can snag 20 minutes of free parking, which I find really nice. So if you got to come downtown for something and you need to park on the street, you can just hit the button, snag 20 for free, go do whatever you need to do, and then you can zip out. You don't got to pay. But the architecture is really cool. You got some brick buildings going on right here. Let's see. Something I learned when I was a firefighter is that a brick wall is structural. It's got I think they call it a King's row. So right here you see these are going long way, and then these are kind of going long way that way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You got a King's row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You got another King's row right there. So it's just fun. Whenever I look at things, I'm just like, huh, is that like structural brick? And that would be. So over there, another good building. That's going to be where Trailhead is located. So Trailhead is a co-working space, one of them in the area. They have a location here where you can snag a desk. They also have a location in one of these buildings over here where you could get maybe an office. You got people that scoot around on scooters around town here. I don't know how I feel about those scooters. You often find them in precarious locations. All right, we're gonna run and catch this light. It's a cute little pocket. It's kind of in between the main roads. You got a main one-way over there that's heading in, and then you got a main one-way to our left that's heading out. So we're kind of in between those two main one-ways right now. We're gonna zigzag up here a little bit because there's some things that I want to show you guys, so we're going to cut out. I want to show you that hotel that came in, but we're going to cut through this area too. You're going to have a handful of food options right in here. Another one too, Slow by Slow. You got a coffee shop right there, so if you're staying downtown somewhere, you might enjoy their coffee if you want to walk over here. There's the warehouse. We'll come back to that. You got P.F. Chang's over there. But I want to go stand on this corner out here and just kind of point at a few things, and we're going to cut back. As you can see, this little strip is kind of unique. They got this outside area, so there's some outside seating right there, like you just saw. There's a place behind me I'll point out. They always kind of have live music, which is really fun. You got a guy on a guitar on the weekends. You'll see a lot of restaurants are going to have mist systems that kind of keep you cool. It's going to be the Treehouse building, just to our left over there. They do a lot with bringing music to the area, put on good events here. Now, I don't know if I'm going to say this right. Yoitomo Sushi? Let's see if I'm saying that right. How do you pronounce the name of this restaurant?
Yoitomo.
Yoitomo?
Yeah.
Okay, I said it right.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's good.
If you're into sushi, that'd be a place I recommend. It's one of my favorites. I'll often go there with some guys and do the lunch buffet. So this is going to be South Capitol right here. If you were to go, this is a one-way, but if you were to go all the way down that direction, that would take you to the airport. And if you were to go all the way down there, you might have a hard time seeing it, but that's the Capitol building right there. So as we stand on this corner, if you're thinking about coming to Boise and staying, maybe you want to stay downtown, this is going to be the Resident Inn at the Marriott right here. There's some great restaurants that direction. You got Mod Pizza, a great pizza place. You got Trader Joe's right there. A couple different food things in there. And so now we're going to cut back this way. go ahead and jump across the street. Let's go look at this real quick, actually. We got Tree Fort. Let's see what's on the billboard. Tree Fort Music Hall, upcoming shows. Lords of Acid, Odd Mob, Top House, Pigs on the Wing. Yeah. The Dip. I don't know any of these bands anymore. I'm totally out of it. We got the Bodo Cinema. At a clothing store. We're actually going to dip in here. This is going to be the warehouse. One of the ice cream places around town is going to be called The Still, S-T-I-L. That's one of their locations. And the warehouse is essentially just a group of different restaurants. It's kind of always changing. But we'll cut through here. Oh man, I just got the whiff of waffle cone. It was intense. We got Cafe Dart right there. Looks like we got Baskinese over there. Yeah, Poppy Seed Bakery. See, last time I was here, that was not, I'm forgetting the name, not a sushi bowl, the raw fish. I don't even know what it is right now. What do you call that, raw fish, like over a thing of rice? Oh, it's killing me. Let's see, Taco Tuesday here. Living, somebody selling some stuff. You got beers on tap. Rush Bowls. Yeah, sandwich place. Got Five Guys over there on the left. Let's see. This is a main thoroughfare that's getting people out. So this runs all the way down. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lanes. Runs all the way down, and then there's essentially the freeway entrance up there. And so I don't know if I would have designed a city like this. I understand how they got there. It reminds me a lot of Seattle, or how I-5's cutting right through town. That's going to be the Grove Hotel. That's another spot that you might stay if you come here. You got the Idaho Central Arena. A lot of hockey games there. So often when you have events there, then the warehouse where we just were gets really busy because a lot of people can go for food really quick, which is really nice. At the Idaho Central Arena, oh well, so that gal's got a bike. Me and my family bought one of those bikes when we first moved here. I think that's the Rad Wagon, but it is so fun to use a bike like that to get around with kids. But this Idaho Central Arena is great. It has hockey, so if you're into that, you want to go play, then you got that. This is one of the main entrances, so whenever we come to an event here, the lines will kind of fill out right here. But like a comedian came to town, and I've been there for shows, so that's been really fun. So this is like a center courtyard area. Like if we went out that direction right there, we'd get out to the main street. That's the path that we just walked on. So no cars back in here, obviously. You got Buffalo Wild Wings, some other restaurants and things like that. We're going to continue going that way, but first we're going to take a detour to the left here. But again, you can kind of see the water feature. Pretty fun. I smell chlorine, which is kind of funny. I was told if you smell chlorine, it just means that it's fighting off all the urine. So it kind of confuses me why I'm smelling it at that water feature. Lots of trees around the Treasure Valley too, which is nice because it does get hot here in the summer. So just to educate you guys a little bit, so we're in Boise right now, but then the greater area, we're going to call that the Treasure Valley. And it's not just going to be Boise, it's going to be Boise, Meridian, Eagle, Kuna, Star, Middleton, Caldwell, Nampa. And so you have all these surrounding cities. And the nice thing about that is that a lot of people, when they're moving here, you know, maybe Boise hits their radar. Just like if you're moving to Washington, be like, well, Seattle hits your radar. You move to Colorado, Denver hits your radar. But let's just say you were to move to one of those states, you might not end up in Denver, you might end up in one of the surrounding towns or maybe somewhere else in the state, but it's what attracts you and probably gets you thinking about that area. And so that's the nice thing about the Treasure Valley is a lot of people when they move here, they could move to Boise, but maybe they go to Eagle or another town that fits them at the price point that they're wanting. Maybe they want to get land, maybe they want to live up in the foothills a bit more. And so no matter where you live in the Treasure Valley, you get the benefits of having all of this. But you can be a little further out of town, live in a smaller town. Every town's gonna have a different feel. A lot of them can feel pretty rural. Lots of farming, agricultural still going on. But they all kind of have a different vibe. Some are better for walkability. Maybe some are gonna be better for, you know, new construction with a pool amenity and things like that. So lots of variety. Again, here's the one way. So we're crossing 9th Street right now. And so everybody is heading out of town right now. So it's 4:30, so a lot of people are getting off work. So you can kind of see what traffic looks like. Most people are probably turning a right here to get out to the freeway, to get out of town so they can go back home to, you know, Nampa, Caldwell, Meridian, Kuna, wherever they live. Or people are going straight and, you know, they want to get up to the freeway. They could live in Mountain Home or in Southeast Boise. Let's see. So this is going to be Hotel 43, and then you're going to have Chandler's. And Chandler's is definitely one of our fancier steakhouses. Actually took my wife on, I think it was our anniversary dinner here. I think we were celebrating something, but it was really fun. We came here. I ended up getting a steak that was a, gosh, was it a Wagyu, Idaho Wagyu steak? I think they have some connection to some farming outfit here in Idaho, or they're going to be bringing in their own Wagyu. So it's really good, but phenomenal experience. I mean, this is the kind of place where, I mean, you got guys on Porsches pulling up, but this is the kind of place, you know, where the waiters make probably a very, very good living. And when we came here, I don't want to go in there. It's a very nice restaurant. But when we came here, they had live music going. Again, Hotel 43. So if you were to stay at the hotel and you like fine dining, you could do that right there. Lots of new construction on this side. You're going to see a mix of buildings kind of getting refurbished. Like even as I look down, it's like, okay, you got some really old buildings down there. You know, this is very, let's say, modern. You got a building right here that is getting worked on. But the sidewalks over here are really nice. This is marked as a bike path. Again, parking, you got concrete roads, you got the Sparrow, another place to stay. You got a food truck right there. That's a hotel. So I'm gonna see if I can get us in there and then get up to that rooftop. So we'll zip up there and then we'll zip back out and head that way again. I essentially wanna get you guys all the way to the Capitol building today. We're gonna cross, make sure we don't get hit. Little touches like this are nice, you know, you got the planters, we're trying to grow some things. The Sparrow. This could be a nice area to stay too. Foreman Function, another one of our coffee shops here. Let's get a nice mocha.
Nice mocha?
Mm-hmm.
To go?
Yeah. How long have you guys been here? Is this fairly new right in here?
Almost a year, late last July, apparently.
Okay. How's it been going? I like all the light you guys get in. The other place is always kind of dark.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely getting busier. People are becoming more aware that we're here.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Thanks.
I like it. It's a bit slow in the evening, but
I could imagine.
People are going to start coming in for the wine selection, and we got some good beers on tap.
Oh, so you guys more kind of coffee, hybrid, wine, beer in the evenings kind of thing? That's smart. What is the Sparrow? Is that just like a kind of motel? Hotel? Okay.
I don't know if you consider it a hotel or a motel.
Yeah, I don't know. I always thought motel like door. It kind of looks motel-y, but maybe it's not. I'm curious. I'm gonna go look at that. I'll be right back. Yeah, let's see, I'll ask him about rooms. I've always walked by this place, but I never came in. So I'll ask him about rooms. Maybe this is a good place. Could be central if you guys are wanting to get a feel for downtown. Yeah, I just had a question. I've never been in here, and I was just curious to learn more about your guys' place.
Yeah, so the Sparrow is, we've been open for a year, basically.
Yeah.
Last year in July, we fully opened up, remodeled. It used to be the old Safari Inn,
Okay.
which has been around for a very long time.
Yeah.
The property stood 52 plus years. And so we have 3 queen rooms upstairs that don't have elevator access. They are always a little cheaper due to that.
Like directly
circumstance.
above us here?
Yep,
So you go up the stairs?
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
cool.
Yep. So just smaller in size, and since there's no access, they're always a little cheaper in price.
Yeah.
And then the separate entrance is going to be all the rest of our 64 rooms.
How big are the rooms?
Pretty spacious, I'd
Okay.
say. Yeah.
And then how much for, you guys offer kind of parking, on-site parking? Is that an additional fee?
Yes, so $15 for each night.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
And then I see you guys got coffee.
Yep.
And then what's the place, the Airstream?
So that is Crisp Boise. They actually did just close, but they are local seasonal farms table type
Okay.
ingredients.
Like closed for the day? But
Yes.
still out, okay, great.
Yeah, 9
cool.
to 4. They'll be back open tomorrow, 9 to 4.
Okay.
But they do anything from like a cheeseburger pho to pasta to like a media quesadilla.
Okay.
They do brunch as well, so you can get a breakfast burrito at 4 p.m. if you want.
Yeah.
But it's owned by a local husband and wife.
Okay.
And
It does
they
have
switch
hotel
out the menu with
information,
what kind of
but you can
ingredients are
always call or
going
text
through
us. The
Boise at the
numbers are
time,
here.
Okay.
season-wise.
Awesome.
And
Well, that's great. Well, I'll look you
you're
guys up
open
online.
24
I appreciate it.
hours.
No problem.
Thanks for the coffee.
Thanks for stopping by.
So this is some of the outside seating here. Chris, that was what I was just talking to that gal about. But nice shade out here. These are some of the rooms. So hopefully you heard her. She kind of said some less expensive rooms are going to be located above this space without access via an elevator. But nice little courtyard. Also, I remembered what it was. It was a poke bowl. Poke. Rice with the fish on it. Okay, let's go jump over there. Hotel Renegade, the Highlander rooftop bar and lounge.
I knew the key. I
I
knew
guess.
the key was right here, so I was like, just there.
No, they did not.
Pardon me?
sit on the bank and eat as well.
If I was your wife. And that's hard.
No, it's not. I think it's not that. It's that,
So in addition to that rooftop bar, you're also going to have some Baraboo. This is going to be the Baraboo restaurant. They're closed right now, but hopefully you guys can see that. All right. Got Blue Collar Coffee attached to the same building right there. But again, I really love all the architecture they have back here in the buildings. Granted, some buildings, are getting built up like that one, but then you got nice old buildings here. You got the Hawaii Tavern, gonna be steak and seafood right there. A little bit of trash. Again, lots of nice outdoor seating out here. Got a shoe store. Got the Danskos. My wife was a nurse and still is a licensed nurse. Nice thing about Idaho is that, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure she is able to keep her nursing license here. She doesn't have to do continuing work experience. She chewed on that for a little while, and we would go take the kids to like camps, and she'd be the camp nurse. But in Idaho, they changed it so that she can keep her license without having to keep up hourly stuff each year. So maybe that's good, maybe that's bad. But I always know nurses love those Danskos. Got Sid's Garage. Again, that's Hotel 43 over there. That's Chandler's. That's the restaurant we already looked at. And so now we're just kind of one street up from that. We're going to cut back kind of into the heart of town, and then we'll hang a left. I'll show you where a lot of the restaurants are, and then we'll finish the Capitol building. So let's see, we got Charles Schwab right there. We got Zion Bank. That's a big Zion Bank building right there.
You can say something.
And we got Kick Dining. I still have yet to eat down there. It's kind of sunken down there. A good friend of mine, Will, who they now live in Central Oregon, he owned a catering business over there. He's owned two now, but he told me about Kick. He's like, I want to go do Kick next time I'm in town. So I said, okay. If your catering friend is telling you he wants to go to a restaurant, then it must be good. You guys are really helping me get my steps in today, so thank you for that. I saw a friend who's down quite a bit of weight was talking about how he had a goal for X amount of steps. So he ate more protein, started exercising, then he had a goal to hit a certain amount of steps each day. It's just been getting me thinking maybe I need to do more walking videos for you guys. So here we got some public transportation. big hub right here where people are stopping and getting on their stuff. Let's ride Boise. So just to give you guys some bearings, well, Dutch Bros Coffee's right there, Costa Vida. But down there, that is the water feature that we talked about. That's the arena where Idaho Steelheads play, the hockey team. So we were there and we went that way. We went all the way around and then we came back on this street. And now we're gonna head right through here and then we're gonna cut over to the Capitol building. So they shut these streets down and blocked them off to pedestrian traffic, which is really nice. Lots of restaurants, especially on that next one up. But so you got Tupelo Honey up there. That was a restaurant that we had never done prior to coming to Boise. More southern in style. You have Ruth Chris Steakhouse right there. Another restaurant, Fork. One of my favorite restaurants that is definitely the hands down go-to for me and my wife on date night is Alavita. Alavita's just down there. If you've watched any of my videos, that is not new news to you. But great calamari, great Italian. So again, you're gonna get a lot more restaurants kind of socked into this area as well. Diablo and Sons. Eureka, you got some pizza place. You got the Matador back there, that might be familiar to you. Now this is called Freak Alley. If you look up, you know, top 10 things to do in the Boise area, this will probably be on that quintessential short list, but just an alley with tons of graffiti on it, as you can see from the walls there. Let's cut out this way. But if you're thinking about getting moved here, reach out. Call, text, or email, days, nights, or weekends. I'm also a licensed real estate agent with a great team. We help people get moved here every week. And a big part of that is helping people on scouting trips. So reach out, we can help. It doesn't cost you anything. Also, that's a speakeasy. Have yet to be in there, but it's kind of one of those secret, you know, I don't know, you got to do a special knock or something. You got St. Lawrence Gridiron right here. Kind of tucked away off the beaten path, a little quieter back here. Boise's a really bikeable city too. Hopefully you guys are picking that up, but there's gonna be bikes everywhere. When me and my family relocated here, a couple things we were looking for kind of in a city, and what ultimately made it really good for us was bikeability. That wasn't super high on the list, but it was something I'm like, oh, I'd love to be able to get around and not have to rely on a car so much. So Boise's totally been that for us. And depending on where you live, it could be great for you. So like, for example, things I think about is as my kids get older, I want them to be comfortable riding around and having access to things to get to friends' houses or to go to a job before they have a car or find ways to make money. And I just don't want them to be super reliant on us in that way. Other things we were looking for in a city was safety. And again, I think Boise really hits the head on that. It's gonna be the Capitol building right there. Really beautiful out here too. Got the statues, got a Lincoln statue right there. Again, as we look back, right, this is gonna be Capitol Boulevard. If you remember, the sushi place is right off this, Trader Joe's is right off this. And again, if you were to go backwards on that one way, you'd essentially run straight into the airport. But going back, some things that we were looking for in a city was safety, affordability, right? Depending on who you talk to, Boise is really affordable or not affordable. Lots of sunshine, 4 seasons is really nice. A redder state. My wife's originally from Idaho, and we met in Seattle, got married, and then from there moved to Oregon, started our family, and then Oregon kind of took a turn that we weren't super happy with, and it wasn't really a good fit for us anymore. And you really start to change your thinking when you have kids and what you want from a city and what you want for them. So Idaho's been a really good fit for us for that.
Now, let's listen in on mine and my wife's story about why we chose to move to Boise, Idaho, sight unseen.
Almost 4 years ago, we took a leap of faith and packed up our entire family.
Including our 2-week-old baby, and moved to a place where we knew pretty much no one.
After living in Boise, Idaho now, in this beautiful gem state, we've definitely learned some things, and there were a few surprises that we didn't necessarily expect. For starters, my wife and I and our family, like we mentioned, we moved here from Oregon almost 4 years ago now.
Honestly, it was a decision we'd been thinking about for years, even when Portland was still a
I think
great
5
place.
years.
Probably.
We were
Yeah.
thinking about Maui for sunshine and friends,
Bend for sunshine.
Bend, Oregon. And we also looked at Spokane, Washington. Let's keep going back. Why did we feel the need to leave Portland?
And house prices were just too much for us to sell our home and be able to upgrade to anything bigger. Just was putting us into areas of Portland we didn't want to live.
We were really looking at other places to go, and it just didn't feel quite right, and I didn't want to force something. As you watch videos of your thinking, you're trying to envision what your life would be like, and you're like, do I really want that? And it just wasn't, it just felt like it wasn't fitting. And then Boise hit our radar. We moved sight unseen.
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't do a scouting trip.
Lots of YouTube videos.
Yeah, lots of YouTube videos. Super helpful. I'm like, I think I know that city, and I think it's a good fit. And if we're wrong, we can just move back.
It was probably 6 weeks tops before we were like literally had a house lined up here to rent. I was like 38 weeks pregnant. We're talking about this, and I just had zero emotional capacity to think through any of this. Like, you figure this out. I'll go where you go. I can't think about this right now.
I talked to a lot of you guys on the phone. There's a lot of moving parts with the relocation, jobs, getting a home sold, finding a home, deciding if you actually want to move to that city, whatever it is. There's so many things. And the whole time we're wondering, was this the right decision? Is it going to pan out? Come on, guys. I remember driving into Eagle, and you're like, so this is Eagle.
Oh my gosh, it felt like coming to the promised land. We get here and we land at this rental house and this massive park, which was walking distance from us, with this hugest playground my kids had ever seen in their lives that was open to play on.
Clean, no homeless, no needles. You felt safe.
It was literally night and day.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
In the true sense of the word, you could say it felt like a breath of fresh air.
It did.
That kind of sums up our journey of leaving, what it was like. I was in the trenches. I know what you guys are going through to some degree. We went through it too. It was tough. It was hard, but it was totally worth it for the lifestyle that we now have on the day-to-day. So let's jump into some just like pros and cons that you have.
I mean, the first thing that came to mind, just with Idaho in general, because so many people are moving here, it's actually been a real big plus for us. Partly just the communities that we've landed in. It's a ton of transplants. And the pro to that is that everyone's looking for friends.
Yes.
So it's just been really easy to make friends with people because everyone's new and everybody wants friends. And we ended up landing in a real small school for our kids where, I mean, I'd say 98% of people are not from Idaho and moved here within the last 3 years. It's been easy to build community because everybody wants it and everybody's looking for it. And you're not trying to break into circles where people have been friends for 30 years.
I mean, we just had some random people move for work and we just hit it off with them. I'm like, yeah, that's what it's like when you move somewhere. You just don't have any relationships, and they have kids and their kids don't have friends. Like, I remember, like, it's not easy moving. You could be moving away from family. Your kids could be moving away from the only friends they've ever had. So there's a lot that goes along with that. So that is nice that if you move here, it's not like you're the one outlier. Depending on where you move, a majority of your neighborhood could be made up of people just like you.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure that has downsides, but for us, it has felt like a lot of pros.
Yeah. I'll do a pro. One reason that I really like Boise is because it had a larger city than some other places in Idaho. And I just love being close to amenities and opportunity and entertainment. I often mention this, but Oregon Shakespeare Festival, not Oregon, we're from Oregon. That's a good one to go see. The Idaho Shakespeare Festival is here. You have shops, you have good dining. It's really cool that it's the Capitol building. We actually did a date morning and actually went into the Capitol building for the first time, which is really fun. Yeah.
Really cool.
So the city's really nice. And then another one that I'll just attach onto that is that coming from Portland, and that's what we knew for like the last decade, is Boise's an insanely clean city, to the point to where if you're not used to a clean city, you're slightly shocked. You almost feel like it's a Truman Show.
Truman, did you see this?
We're like putting up fake scenery to hide the homelessness. It's not existent here to the degree that it is in places like Seattle, Cali, Portland, Oregon, things like that.
With that said, I've seen it starting to shift a bit in the 3 years, almost 4 years that we've been here.
Yeah.
When we first moved here, we had like made some little homeless packs, the kids and I, that had
Socks
hand warmers,
and Ziploc bags, yeah.
gift cards to a grocery store and things like that. And so we had some left in our car. And so we got here and my daughter was like, Mom, can we find some people to give these to? It's like, yeah, let's go drive downtown. We couldn't find anybody, not a single person to give them to. And it was strange. But in the last 4 years, it's ticked up a bit. It's not, there's no homeless camps. You're not seeing tents everywhere. But I see more people on street corners that I hadn't seen at first. As in maybe 5 to 10 total in the city that I've noticed. But that is more than it was in the last, 4 years ago. So it is something to keep an eye on.
Yeah. What's another pro for you?
I just have noticed the difference in our families, just the activities that we do, like how much we're outside here versus we just weren't where we came from. So the fact that we're biking all over the city, we're down at the river all the time, or we're doing walks by, along the Greenbelt, or we're biking to ice cream, or we're hiking up Table Rock or up Camel's Back, or it's a lifestyle that we didn't have before because
not to mention the river.
Yeah, like the kids are playing in the river all summer while you're fishing, and it's just it's something that wasn't close to us. It wasn't as accessible to us before, and that's been a game changer for our summers, especially. It's so fun. It just feels like there's always opportunity to get out and do something outdoors with the kids, and I love that because I feel like we didn't have that where we were. We had to drive, so it had to be a very
It was just far away.
You had to drive
and so then, yeah,
drive somewhere else, and that's very different than my experience growing up. I grew up in Moscow, and you're not doing those things there either because there's just not
far.
Right, you're doing other things, but you're not doing a lot of like hiking and playing outside. And I've loved that. I've loved that for our kids and for our family.
Yeah, to add to that, a big thing for me, Oregon is beautiful. Like the state is beautiful. There's tons of beautiful places in it, but depending on where you live, you just have to go some distance to actually get to them. So then you're talking about giving up a weekend, and it's a weekend trip. Whereas here, something that's amazing about the city of Boise is that it has the Boise River cutting through town. But it's got the foothills, and the foothills are butted up right against the city. So like right now, if I were to leave my office, I could be to the foothills in 4 to 5 minutes. I could be out and about. And so that was a big thing of just in terms of lifestyle, to get these things closer just means you can do them more frequently. It's more a part of your life, which could have a drastic impact on your health, your activity levels, like all these things that you start to think about as you get older and you're not 20 anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I will say, even if Portland had those things close, it rains like 8 months out of the year in Portland.
Wow.
So you don't want to be out in it.
Portland does have a river that you don't want to go in. Portland does have parks that aren't friendly to families. So
that leads into another pro of just the weather here is so much better. It is sunnier. It is significantly drier than where we came from. Yeah. And I recognize that for a lot of you who are moving from other places.
California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe this is not an upgrade. For us, it was a massive upgrade. For our friends who moved here from San Diego, it was hard. It was hard to give up what they gave up.
It was a hit on lifestyle.
Yeah, it was hard for them, but it was way better for us.
Yeah, if you're coming from somewhere if you're coming from Cali, I know the reasons you're coming. You're not coming here for the weather, though you could want 4 seasons. You could be coming for that, but everybody knows Cali has phenomenal weather and the ocean's great. And I love hopping on a plane. That's a pro for me. Boise has a good airport. So, and I talk about this in relation when I was thinking about other cities to move to, whether they were in Idaho Spokane or Bend, it's like I wanted a city where we weren't isolated and it wasn't hard for people to get to us.
Yeah.
Family, friends, or if I need to go fly somewhere for work or whatever it might be, it's nice to have an airport really close. And I'll say this airport is great. We live on the bench, so we're between the city and the airport. And my record for getting out of bed and sitting down on my airplane is 20 minutes. So that's like getting up, calling an Uber, packing, walking through security. I do have TSA pre-check. And then sitting down on the plane was 20 minutes. And I don't encourage people to do that. I'm just saying I did it, which should tell you something about the airport.
Like, things are less expensive here. Utilities are a whole lot cheaper here. We significantly increased our square footage, and we're paying less for water, less for electric, all those. So it's nice.
Yeah.
It's not something that would like be the thing to make you move, but it's a nice perk.
Yeah, it's good to know about the prices. I know some places, I know a family, they moved to Florida, and there were certain costs that just almost doubled for them in certain areas. A lot of you I talk to who are in California tell me about fire insurance, how much you're paying for fire insurance, how shocked you are by how much you're paying for things like car registration, just food, taxes, all these things, and how it just feels like the number keeps growing.
The other one is just more sunlight in the winter. And this is actually the big surprise for me, because I did grow up in Idaho, so I didn't expect this to be different. But Idaho's time zone, it's basically aligned through the middle of the state. So in Moscow right now, it's an hour behind where we are here in Boise. And so the difference that makes is we are significantly farther west compared to where the time zone line is. So for us, it just stays light a lot later in the evenings through the winter. Like, growing up in Moscow, it was dark by 4 o'clock in the peak of winter. And that's tough, because you leave for school, leave for work in the dark, you come home in the dark, and that's hard to get through. But here, it never got dark later or earlier than 5 p.m. So at least the kids can come home from school and have a bit of sunlight to play in before it gets dark. And I hadn't expected that, and I love it. It's been amazing.
Yeah. And in the summertime, it stays light longer.
Which actually I feel like is a bit of a con.
A little bit. It just feels like it really drags. Like, if your kids ever want to sleep outside, say in the trampoline, it's like, well, it's not going to get dark until like you
really
guys, you're never going to fall asleep.
11 p.m. Like, we just can't do it.
Like, for you to be awake when the stars finally come out, it's like, oh, I need you to fall asleep before that. We still have young kids. Okay, now let's talk about cons. This one was a little challenging, but let's go ahead and talk about them. Do you want to kick it off? Why? Well, first let's say this. When you think about cons, I mean, things come to mind like, are there natural disasters? Are there bugs that are going to be a nuisance? What's the weather like? Is a tornado going to come through? Are animals going to try to eat me? Like, some of the big ones.
There's
which is funny when you think about this. Like, I was just watching some stuff on Florida, and it's just like, man, I just don't know if I could live next to crocodiles or alligators. I don't know which one they are. What is it?
Hurricanes.
Or yeah, all that stuff, and you're like, gosh, that looks great, but then you got to say, yeah, I'm up for the cons too. The funny thing is, when I think about Boise, and well, let's say specifically Boise, there's just not a ton of cons in that arena.
Natural
which is really nice. Yeah, natural disaster, bugs. It's like maybe you'll get some mosquitoes somewhere, but it's not like we have cockroaches running around. It's not like there's
We usually get wildfire smoke in August, but compared to where we came from, it's significantly less.
Yeah,
so it just feels like it doesn't hardly register on the radar.
Yeah, like I went camping with Levi, my son. We did rafting down the Deschutes River, or not the Deschutes, the Payette. And I remember a smoke happened, so everything was a bit hazy. But that's just not the norm that we experience here at all. So cons. What do you got for cons? Oh, late summer nights.
I mean, like that was my big.
That was one of the cons.
Well, it's hard to put the kids.
It was kind of we were kind of not expecting it.
Right.
You just we knew Boise was Mountain Standard Time.
I didn't think so.
But you didn't connect the dots of like, oh, that just means it's going to get light.
Yeah. So it's a major pro in the winter, but I think it's a con in the summer because it just it's just hard. It's hard to get to bed on time when it's still. I mean, I think the latest the sun sets is like 10:15 in the summer, but then you still have like dusky light until 11. It's just weird.
It is weird. So get blackout shades. And for your kids, for you, if you got kids, for your dogs. One of the cons I said was just heat in summer. So like right now we're moving in springtime. It is lovely. Just the other day we were out walking around in t-shirts. I had shorts on. I wore my chacos for the first time this season. It's, you know, the day when you're like, oh, I finally pulled shorts out. But then I know what's coming. It's going to be hot this summer.
Yeah. June's usually nice. We did have that one year where it was over 100 for like 20 days straight in June. And that's not normal, but that was rough. But it is consistently in the hundreds in August. And that's just really hot.
Yeah. I mean, it's classic. The pros of it is you have the Boise River, and the con of the Boise River is that the Boise River can be really cold. It comes out at the base of a dam, so it's pulling all the cold water from the bottom of the dam, so it doesn't really have time to warm up. It can only warm up in the process of going down. It doesn't warm up that much. So other rivers that maybe aren't dammed so close can be a little bit more pleasant, but it's like you're really hot, but you're like, but it's not like you want to jump full body into the river. You can, but it's still, you're like, it bites.
One other con for us is just we didn't move any closer to family. And so that, I imagine for a lot of people, it's probably similar. You're leaving family, and it's been fine, but do I wish Boise had got us closer to grandparents? Yes, I do.
Yeah. I would say, and this is a personal one for us, but I know a lot of people when you're relocating, you're moving away from somebody, or maybe you're moving closer to somebody. But I'll just say some notes on that. I've had multiple conversations where I'm talking with somebody and I'm talking additionally too with their parents. So it'll be like a group call. And so what I'm saying is I do see a couple things happen where families and siblings will move at the same time because they're all kind of over something, over California or over the heat in Arizona or whatever it is. They'll move like that. Or what I've just seen over time is somebody will move first and then family will come to visit, or maybe the parents move and then the kids come to visit. And then all of a sudden they get to start experiencing the place. And then all of a sudden they're like, wow, you know, and then give it 1, 2, 3 years and then they move too. I mean, we were the first ones who really moved here. And I'm still hopeful that we might rope somebody in with us because, like, even when my dad's come here, my dad worked at Boeing, just retired, and there was another guy he used to work with who retired and moved out here. And when he came to visit us, he went and visited his friend. And you can see his brain turning a little bit, just like contemplating, oh, why did you move here? Wow, I really like this place. Wow, that river's great.
He's always looking up the weather when it's miserable in Seattle area. And he's like, it looks like it's sunny in Boise.
Yeah, it's like it's not hard to make something look that much better than Seattle. Horrible traffic in Seattle, dreary, long winters. He hates them just as much as I did. So that can happen too. If you do make the move, just know, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but just know it's a possibility, and I've seen it happen where then family follows suit.
Yeah.
Another con that I'll say is, so for us, my family's still in Seattle. My wife's is up north in Moscow, Idaho. In the winter times, like the grandparents want to see the grandkids, and so we're always thinking, how do we go see them? One thing I don't look forward to is having to travel in the wintertime.
Yeah. No.
Right? Even if it's from here to Seattle or from here to Moscow, Idaho is really surrounded by, especially if you're heading north up Idaho, it's really some treacherous terrain. The other day, Nicole and I went and did a snowmobiling trip up in McCall, Idaho, just to kind of show you guys things you can do in the wintertime and what activities and what your lifestyle might be like. And even on that drive, there's one specific horrible spot on that drive. We saw 3 cars kind of broken down, not sure what was happening. One was over at Edge, and you know, every time you're like, gosh, if we crash, we kill everybody, like us. And like the grandparents are just like, oh my gosh, in one fell swoop, they just lost a whole family of 6. So anyway, it's things you think about and you just deal with it. You pick good weather, you get the right snow tires on. So
another con I can think of, Boise is a bit sprawling, as in the Treasure Valley in general is a bit sprawling. It could be that it doesn't affect your life at all because maybe everything is in a very small, area around where you live.
School, lifestyle.
Yes, yeah. Which it was for us for a little bit of time, and then
because we homeschooled.
We did, and now we have our kids at a school that we love that we drive 25 minutes for, which is kind of
so 25 there, 25 back, 25 there, 25 back. So you're talking about almost 2 hours of driving a day.
There's not a lot of I'm never fighting traffic to get there, which is great, but for the fact that you could constantly have things on the other side of the valley, it's a lot of driving. So you can build your life to where all your community and everything is in one particular area where you live, and that's awesome. And we kind of wish we had done that.
Well, I just got a text and he asked me, he said, hey, I saw your YouTube videos of the living like in Boise, Nampa, Meridian, and other series, and you mentioned helping with the scouting trip. So I just want to talk about scouting trips for a second. A big way that we help you in the relocation process is helping you plan those scouting trips. The scouting trips are a big deal. We can really help you narrow things down. You can really only learn so much from YouTube. Even though I didn't do a scouting trip, I highly, highly recommend it.
Now, if you're thinking about moving to Boise, Idaho, you're probably thinking about what is there to do here? Next, we're gonna cover 10 things that you can do in Boise, Idaho.
10 things to do in Boise, Idaho. So if you're thinking about moving here, I'm gonna walk you through 10 amazing things that Boise, Idaho has to offer. And as we go see these 10 locations, I'm gonna be taking my bike, so you're gonna see how easy it is to get around. One thing you're gonna notice in this video is that it's a little hazy and smoky. Right now, Stanley, Idaho is having some pretty major fires, and Boise is really experiencing a lot of that smoke. So that's just something that you're gonna see kind of throughout this footage. And the first thing I wanna start off with today is gonna be the Boise Hot Air Balloon Festival. So you see this amazing hot air balloon right behind me, and this is great. It's super family friendly. In fact, last year I brought my kids early. I got here really early and stood in line so that they could make it to school on time. But they were able to go up and ride in a hot air balloon. In addition to that too, they come out at night and light these balloons up. They're actually going to be doing that tonight. But again, this is a great annual event every year. Everybody looks forward to it. All right, the next thing that you're going to want to check out is the Boise Depot, which you see right behind me. This is a beautifully preserved Spanish colonial revival style train station, which is now also a venue. And in fact, it is open right now for a private event, so they're getting ready for that. But something else that's unique about this specific location is where it's located. So the Boise Bench is kind of raised up. In fact, me and my business partner, Spencer Southey, did a great video kind of highlighting the Boise Bench behind us. But it's raised up right above the city. Now, granted, again, it's smoky, but what you're seeing here is a very iconic view of the city. That is the Capitol building. We're gonna go see that later. But if you've ever seen photos of Boise, there's a high chance you saw a shot like this, and it was from this location right here. Now, from here, we're gonna drop off of the bench, dip down into downtown Boise, and I'm gonna show you guys the Boise Zoo. I'm Craig.
I'm Maureen.
Nice to meet you, Maureen. Making videos for YouTube, showing them 10 things they can do in Boise. What are your favorite things to do in Boise? The Hot Air Balloon Festival, how was it? Last year we did it where my kids got into a balloon, they went up on the rope and then came down. All right. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. So there's something I want to talk about for a second. So I stopped on that bridge and I had a lady just strike up a conversation with me. When I talk to a lot of you, especially you Californians, when you call and talk to me or after your scouting trips, some of the feedback that I get is that you find people to be really friendly here in Boise. Like, people wave at you, they start up conversations with you, and that is absolutely correct, and you guys just saw that happen to me. So I would say if you guys come here and you're visiting, feel free to put a smile on, wave, start up a conversation. You'll learn a ton about the locals, about neighborhoods, about the city, about what somebody's favorite thing to do is. So with that being said, don't be afraid to talk to people. Let's go check out the zoo. All right, now here we are at the Boise Zoo. Now this zoo is in the heart of downtown. Downtown is, I mean, technically I'm in downtown, but downtown is just right there. The Boise River is right there. The Hot Air Balloon Festival was a 5-minute walk that way. The Boise Depot is just 5 minutes up the road where we just were before this. But the Boise Zoo is a compact zoo. It's not the biggest zoo you've ever been to, but it's really well curated. Lots of great animals. Really like an African theme. Said this in other videos, but it's really fun when you're riding your bike on the Greenbelt and you look over at the zoo. Oftentimes you can see giraffes poking their heads up over the fence, which my kids love. All right, the next thing we're gonna highlight is the Boise Greenbelt. I talk about this a lot in my videos, but it is a 25-mile path that kind of goes on both sides of the river. Stretches all the way from Eagle, Idaho, all the way out to Lucky Peak Reservoir. And right now we're on it. So we're in downtown Boise. And again, it goes on both sides of the river. So right now I'm on the north side of the river, but if I was on the south side of the river too, I would also have this trail. But it's a great path. And in fact, even right here, they've done a good job at just doing maintenance. They turned it into concrete versus asphalt. Kind of helps with all the bumps and the roots in your butt. If you do move here, it'll definitely be a point of interest for you and something that hopefully you frequently use, whether that's for exercise like the lady I just passed, or for cycling, or for walking, or for just getting out. It also gives you really good access to the Boise River. Right now, if you can see it, the Boise River is right on the other side of those trees. I really enjoy fly fishing, so oftentimes I will hop on my bike and ride up and down the Greenbelt to find good fly fishing locations. Next up on our list, we're gonna go check out the old state penitentiary. So I'm not sure if you guys saw that from the footage on my head, but under that bridge, there was a couple fishing, and I love it because right as I was driving by on the bike, she had caught a fish, and they were trying to get it unhooked, and she was kind of laughing. And again, that's something that's so great about Boise, is that you have this city that interacts beautifully with nature and the outdoors. I know a lot of you guys are moving here because you want to be closer to the outdoors and nature. And I mean, I don't know how much closer you can get than this. I mean, other cities like this that come to mind, Denver, Colorado feels a little bit like this in some areas. Bend, Oregon feels a little bit like this in some areas, but Boise, I think, definitely wins in this arena of just bringing beautiful areas and mixing it with a city, and they do it in such a great way. Additionally, just off to my left, you kind of see I'm on the bike path here, and let's see. Did you guys see that pack of people? Looks like some older people practicing some yoga in the park. So lots of things and activities going on. But behind me is a park and a great place to hang out with kids. There's also like a wildlife refuge also behind me in the woods. You couldn't really see it. I take my kids there for walks and we look at the fish. They have sturgeon there. But again, I wanted to make that point because a lot of you that I talk to are moving here because you have a family, you have kids, you want a safe place and a family-friendly place. And I would say if you think Boise is family-friendly, then I would say you are correct in thinking that. It is a very family-friendly place. I personally love it. And again, hopefully you're kind of getting a feel for that as I'm taking you around on this bike path. So let's get back to it. We're heading to the pen still. And something else I wanted to show you guys real quick. As I was just passing by, I thought I should stop and show this. I'm right at the river's edge. The bike path is right behind me. Two things I want to show you about this. One is that the river's right here. It's great. Great place to hang out with kids, family, take a break, get some shade. You can see I'm in the trees here. The other thing that I want to show you is that it's very safe. So again, when I think of family friendly, I think about, do I feel comfortable with my kids maybe running along the trails? And you can kind of see there's like a path that goes under there. There's a path right out to the river's edge right there. If you were in any other city that dealt with any kind of homeless problem, you'd probably stay out of these bushes, of this treed area. Oh, bummer, we just missed it, but a huge crane just flew out. It looks like he was hanging out right in this area. But you can kind of see what this is like. This is a nice little protected area right here if you want to play in the water. I could just imagine kids having a great time in here. And again, you got good shade. At the rate I'm going, it's going to take me a while to get you guys everywhere that I want to get you today because I'm stopping by so many great things that I want to show you guys.
How's it going, sir?
Good.
You going that way?
Yep.
All right, you're good.
Thanks. All right, guys. Welcome to Idaho State Penitentiary, the old penitentiary where we house some of the West's most notorious outlaws. But now you can go in and just get tours. So there's no active criminals in there. We're not housing anybody. It's very fun, though, to come, get a tour, go see the cells and see what they used to do. And as you walk through the space, they have signs up with stories. There's a really interesting story about a black cat. I think it was a black cat that kind of roamed around, was kind of like a friend of the inmates. But again, a lot of people, when they come out, this is kind of something to do. Again, I'm hitting a lot of the high points here, and I'm just scratching the surface of the things you can do in Boise and Idaho in general. But the old state penitentiary behind me is definitely going to be one that you'll want to come check out. And there's a couple other things right around here that I'm going to show you. First, let's start off with a very iconic hike. So just behind me is the old state pen, but here I am walking down a dirt road, and there's some parking over here, and this is going to be the parking spot if you want to come to a hike. A classic hike that you can do in this area is going to be Table Rock Hike at the top of the hill up there. So it kind of weaves up and down these sloping hills, and you end up at the top where there's a cross. Amazing views of the city, the airport, downtown Boise, and things like that. So this is a very iconic hike. If you're looking for hikes in Boise and you were to look at a list, this would probably be number 1 or 2 on that. There's another good hike. We're going to talk about that a little later in this film, though, and that'll be located in the north end of Boise. And so now in the same little area is going to be our next stop, which is going to be the Boise, Idaho Botanical Garden. Okay, now here we are at the Idaho Botanical Garden, and right behind me, we have Outlaw Field. So what's so interesting about this place is that also right behind me, that's the old state pen, right? So we just talked about that, and then this is Outlaw Field. So this is the Botanical Garden, and this is Outlaw Field. This was actually the baseball field, I believe, where the inmates would come play, and now there's a lot of tie-over between that. Also, additionally, back there is like the cemetery for the inmates, and in fact, one of the guys who's buried there was equivalent to like Boise's version of Jack the Ripper. But this is a beautiful place. So there's all that kind of dark side, but in addition, this is a beautiful place for kids, family. There's roses. The gardens are lovely. There's a very large koi pond. And then also you get live events. So if you're somebody who's really into music, especially outdoor venues, this is an amazing place to come. They have multiple events here a year. Next Thursday, they're bringing out a comedian, which they've never done a comedian before. Sometimes they'll do jazz or country. But again, this is another great place. If you're just looking for things to do, it's another great thing that you can do here in Boise, Idaho. So right now we're heading to Freak Alley. Very interesting sounding place to go, but you'll understand when I get there. But we just passed through St. Luke's. So St. Luke's is going to be one of the great hospitals here in the valley. So if you're looking to figure out what kind of medical providers you can get connected with, that could be an option to start. If you go in for any surgeries or anything like that, St. Luke's will obviously most likely be an option for you as you're considering where to get treated. But you kind of got to see a glimpse of that. Now onward to Freak Alley. All right, guys, now here we are at Freak Alley. You probably maybe see where it gets the name now. There are murals and paintings that are ever changing. It's definitely something that you might be interested in seeing. And since we're here too, I wouldn't necessarily come down just for this. There's some really great dining right around this area. So if you are dining down here, you're already so close, just hop over and check it out. You'll enjoy seeing the different artwork. But now that we're here, let me go show you 2 restaurants that I really enjoyed that I think you guys might enjoy too. These are going to be my personal recommendations for you guys. All right, guys, the first place I'm going to recommend to you is going to be Alla Vita right above me. This is right in the heart of downtown, but really good Italian food, good drinks, good service. And I'm also a huge fan of calamari, and they have really good calamari here. In fact, my wife thinks it's the best calamari she's had. So this is a really good spot. It's kind of small inside, so if you're coming, be sure to get reservations, or oftentimes you can maybe snag some seating outside if the weather's good. But there are a ton of options down here. So this is kind of called Restaurant Row. These are all restaurants up against the sides of these locations. We got the Matador up here. If you like some happy hour nachos, they have some of the best. But then right down here, you also have a speakeasy. So tell me if you can figure out which door the speakeasy is. Right there. All right, so now we're going to cut over. I'm going to show you guys one more restaurant that I recommend. And then after that, we're going to go to the Capitol building and then on to the north end of Boise. All right, here's another one of mine and my wife's favorites, the Lively. So they have a really good ambiance. They have an upstairs dining, they have a downstairs bar. And I would say the food here is great, but one thing I would really encourage you to get, even if you don't get dinner here, you might just think about coming for dessert, and you're gonna wanna get the coffee and donuts. If you end up going there, leave a comment and let me know what you think, but that's the Lively. Now, just 2 blocks over, let's go check out the Capitol building. All right, here we go. We got the state capitol building behind us, a really good example of neoclassical architecture. Beautiful inside. You can come and kind of take a self-guided tour. Me and my wife did that on a date night the other night, but we really enjoyed it. Don't forget that Boise is the capital of Idaho, and so the benefit is that you get this beautiful building and you get the history that comes along with it. Something else that I really like to do whenever I'm down here with my kids, they have that huge bell out front. And if you reach underneath, you can ring it, and it is so dang loud. Just to give you guys a little bearing, Restaurant Row, where I just showed you guys, that is just like a block that way. The Lively is like 2 blocks that way. And so again, everything you're seeing is really centralized to the downtown area. At least a lot of what I've shown you today, you could easily walk most of it. Granted, I know we were at the state penitentiary. That's pretty far out there. But everything else that I've shown you guys so far, you could walk from right here and get to it. All right, so now we finished up downtown, and we're going to be heading to one of my favorite areas, which is going to be Camel's Back Park. And then right after that, we're going to touch on Hyde Park. In this neighborhood we're in right now, this is the north end. So you're going to see a lot of beautiful older homes. This area is also notorious for old plumbing and plumbing problems. I have a good friend who is a plumber, and this area definitely keeps some money in his wallet. There's lots of business to be had for plumbing problems in this area. But lovely homes, really tight-knit community. All right, so here we are at Camel's Back Park. Behind me, you have Camel's Back Hill. Off to my left, you're going to have some tennis courts. And then over here, you're going to have a nice kids' play area. This is a great place to come. I often find myself coming here for the play area for the kids, grabbing morning coffee at Hyde Park, and then often going up and doing a hike up there. So it's a great, simple hike. You can go straight up if you want, and there's just stairs, or you can kind of, do the switchbacks and make it to the top, and then you can wrap around the front, or you can wrap around the back. This is also a great access point to the hills and mountain bike trails and longer hiking. So this is just like the beginning of it, and this is almost like your entryway into the foothills. So another great area in Boise, Idaho. Now let's go to our last place, which is going to be Hyde Park, also one of my favorite locations. All right, now here we are in Hyde Park. Great little street with lots of restaurants, businesses, and coffee shops. This is a good place to come in the morning if you're wanting maybe a breakfast sandwich and some coffee, or midday or the afternoon if you're wanting to hit up a restaurant. But this area is just really quaint. It just has a charm about it that a lot of other places don't have. This is not your new construction strip mall kind of location. It is very much a old historic area that has been revitalized with great businesses, and again is really close to Camel's Back Park. So if you come here for a morning coffee, then it's really easy to jump up to Camel's Back Park.
Okay, next. So Boise, Idaho is booming. One reason I think it's booming is because of the downtown and the Boise River and the life and what it's like here. So now we're going to do another bike tour, and we're going to focus on the downtown area and make our way out to the neighboring city, Garden City, and we're going to travel along the Boise River on the Greenbelt.
Today we're going to talk about what I think makes Boise so great and why a lot of people are deciding to live here. Right now I'm downtown Boise. I have the zoo just right here off to my right. A lot of times you can see a giraffe popping its head over the edge, and downtown is right there, and in front of me is going to be the Boise River, and I'm going to take you guys along the Greenbelt today. Hopefully this is coming across on video how beautiful it is down here. So just as I look down this path, it's a weaving path, again, river to the right, trees are all coming in, lots of shade. It can get a little warm here in the summertime, like, you know, high 90s. Sometimes we'll hit those triple digits. But then the question is, well, what do you do during that heat? And it's like, well, you go down to the river. The river comes off of the Lucky Peak Reservoir out of the dam. The water's really cold, so it really helps cool down this area when you get close to it. There's lots of trees, lots of shades, lots of parks. Nice covered little pavilion area here for a little picnic. This is going to be one of our larger parks, and you see you got beach. Well, you got beach volleyball here, you got volleyball in the grass, tons of people out here hanging out, walking, exercising. Got the bros and the dogs working out over there, getting after it. Got people out here going for walks. Got this gal running. You got tons of cyclists. We passed that family back there that was biking. When you float the Boise River, that's something a lot of people do in the summertime. You put up by Barber Park, which is on the other side of town, and then this is where you get out. And so you'd get out just right there. That's another bridge that takes you across. And then when you get out of the river, you head over there, and you can load up on a bus, and the bus will take you back. Thanks. The bus will then take you back to grab your car. You can drop the raft here. You rent rafts with them if you want. It's a really fun play structure. I was just talking to a family who's thinking about coming up from Texas, and some of the reasons that they're wanting to come up, they're like, it's just too hot to do anything in the summer, and they also don't feel safe anymore. And I think when you come here, you'll just realize that there's lots of things to do here for families. And I think if you asked anybody, most people are going to say they feel safe. So like, for example, today I went into the office and I have this rad bike. It's an electric bike that we got out of company in Seattle. And I just had it in the back of my pickup truck. And in any other city, that bike would have been gone so fast. I didn't have a lock on it. And here it is. I'm riding it. So I'm going to just take a quick break, and got some live music over there. We should actually go check that out. I was thinking I'd take a quick break, but I guess what I'm wanting to do is just kind of show you guys the bushes and the trees and kind of let you know that, well, let's do this. I'll point out if I see anybody camping in the trees. So I'll keep an eye out for it. I often don't find people camping in the trees. When I come out here with my kids, we're often running through the trail so the kids can have fun, right? It's like wild over there. Okay, we're gonna get closer to the river. If you're looking for some low-hanging fruit of a place that you can go fish, this is gonna be it right here. And let's actually jump up this path. Oh, that guy's fishing right there. Here, let's cut down there real quick. A little off-roading here. This is a great area to come fish, fairly shallow right in here. And even fishing in some of those other spots is really great too, but I've often had a lot of luck kind of right there in the rapid. Now we are jumping across the river again. There's that guy fishing down there. But they do a good job of keeping up this Greenbelt. So this is gonna be not asphalt, but concrete. Very smooth. There were some other sections where the roots had done their damage, and going over it was just like brutal. Just bumps after bumps after bumps. But it's kind of marked, very clear. You know, you stay on the right, the left. Thanks. Got a little gravel path right there for pedestrian walking. It's kind of a firefighter tribute right here. The path kind of weaves away. And then you got a firefighting training site right here, so where they would run up and down the ladder, go do hose work, all that stuff. I was a volunteer firefighter in the Seattle area for 2 years, so I remember doing a lot of that stuff in heat like this with full pack on.
Did you get confused that there was something else right?
All right, we're gonna cross back over the river. So there's an old train trestle bridge that they converted to a walking path. And this is a popular spot to come hang out and to jump off the bridge into the river. Kind of wish I had shorts on right now. A friend of mine came to visit and we climbed up to the top of this train trestle, and it's always higher once you get up there. And it definitely took me a little while to jump.
I was gonna jump there, but then there was like rocks. It's cool. Just now. Slow now. Hey, go, bro. You got this. Oh, yes. Awesome.
Such a beautiful river too. The river just really meanders, kind of cuts, takes different paths. So one, it's really pretty to look at. Two, it's fairly easy to find kind of shallow spots for kids to play in. And three, it's a really good fishery. And so if you like fishing, spinner, fly rod, anything like that, there's just a lot of good spots to go find on the river. All right, let's cut down this. Lots of bridges that cut across through this. Got some fly fishermen entering the river over there. But again, no people camping. No campers. I don't know if you can see it well. Got some guys walking up to go fly fishing. This is where things get really lively over here. It's one pocket of popularity. We're coming into Garden City. Lots of wind whipping through here. Garden City, I would say, is up and coming. Most people who know it really well would think, oh my gosh, I'd never live in Garden City, which makes sense, which is why I would say it's up and coming. There's just a lot of stuff happening, a lot of development happening. I did a good video kind of overviewing Garden City, my thoughts on it. And here's the official sign, welcome to Garden City. So we're officially out of Boise now. Here's a new restaurant. This was, I think, like the Crab Shack before, and now it has converted. Again, you see the river kind of widens here. It's actually dammed up a little bit down there. That's where the Boise Wave is. We'll go look at that. So this is going to be the Riverside Hotel. Dining. They actually have a heated pool, which doesn't sound phenomenal right now. Got some people dancing. Nice, very nice. Fun place to maybe do a staycation. Me and my wife done that there. We'll grab a hotel, and kids will swim in a warm pool, like think in the middle of the winter. So that's really fun. But if you did stay here, say you came on a scouting trip to visit, you could easily stay there and rent some bikes or borrow some bikes or hop on a scooter or go for a walk, and you'd be right on this Greenbelt section right here. And then up here we got Tulalip Wine Co. Really beautiful outdoor seating, again covered, lots of shade. So if you enjoy wine, the wine, when you think of Boise, you probably don't think of wine, but we actually have a lot of great wineries over by the Snake River on the far side of the valley. Got a mom toting two kids. Over there you got Push and Pour Coffee, and here you got a brand new development going in. Not in this house, but right here. So you're gonna have some condos, some homes, some more commercial coming in. I think a sushi place is gonna be rolling, an ice cream place. Got a new taco place on the back of on the back of Push and Pour. And here's gonna be the Boise Wave. Not sure if there's any people surfing today. Could be kayaking. Nope, surfers. Got a little fruit stand set up. Let's go down and look at that real quick. So they'll alternate this wave. They'll either make it really good for surfing or good for kayaking. So right now it's obviously surfing. Super fun thing to do. Getting a wetsuit is definitely advised. You don't have to. I think you might be okay on a hot day like this, but again, that river's nice and cold. Okay, let's go keep riding. So something nice about the Boise area and the Treasure Valley as a whole is that even if you live in one of the other surrounding cities, you know, Eagle, Meridian, Nampa, Caldwell, anything like that, if you want to come into the city, if there's not a ton of traffic, you're maybe 30, 40 minutes away. If you're in Eagle, you're like 20 minutes away. And so a nice thing about that, let's go check out down here. A nice thing about that is that depending on what you want in terms of lifestyle, what you want in terms of amenities and housing, you can go get that. You can most likely find anything that you're wanting somewhere in the valley. But then again, you get access to all this. You get access to the arts, the outdoor, the music festivals, the swimming, the river. It's not too far of a drive away. It's very accessible. It's very close. Again, you have the, trying to remember what path to take here. Let's go straight.
Sure. I also just think, like, I don't know.
So this is like Quinn's Pond area, and you just saw, I'm guessing that was a mom, her 2 kids. You could easily come out here with a paddleboard, take your kids out, you could go fishing like these guys. I know guys go out bass fishing out here.
All right, yeah, this is what I am at.
Thanks.
How much are those cameras?
A couple $100.
Oh, I gotta get one. That's how it looks like such a perv, you know?
Uh-oh.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
We scared them. Hey, take care.
Yeah, see ya. So out here you got guys kayaking, got a couple people just kind of sitting on the paddleboard. You got 2 dudes on a paddleboard, one just relaxing. Some people hanging out right here. Covered area. Again, there's a breeze right now, so hopefully this audio is okay for you guys. Got some guys fishing over there. Got these guys enjoying the sun. I'm gonna loop over there. Oh, they're surfing the big wave today. Let's go check that out. Back here you have some more ponds. We'll actually cut this on the way out, and then there's another thing I want to show you guys that is brand new further down the river. So we'll go find it. Natural path ahead. Okay, so, oh, this is cool. So here's some smaller waves. You got one back there. You got younger kids surfing, longboarding, boogie boarding. My goodness. You got these guys out here playing around on the kayaks, the whitewater rafts. Excuse me. And then here's where it gets crazy. This is a large wave that is not open all the time. Very aggressive. Wonder if we can get out there and check it out. Oh, that guy just got rocked. So I can't get you guys over there right now, but they got steps going down on both sides. Use at your own risk, no leashes. So you got this guy out here. So if you crash, you got to snag your own board. But if you're into surfing and you're thinking, well, I can't surf in Boise because I'll be landlocked. Think again. You can go buy a board, $200-300. You can come out here and surf. Doesn't cost anything. You don't got to pay. It's really fun too. I haven't gone surfing. I had a really busy year last year, so I don't think I got out. So I'd like to go out this year. But it's fun as you're waiting in line at the surf line. It's just fun because you get to meet people that you wouldn't normally meet. I've met some really awesome people who sit out there, and it's as you're waiting for your turn to go, it's really cool because you just get to have fun conversation with people, learn about what they do for work. So now over here, you're gonna have some other ponds off to the right again. Oh, you got a guy snorkeling. Oh, 2 people snorkeling. Just curious to look at. I'm curious what they're doing. A buddy of mine, me and Zach, snorkeled this river. Further up, we didn't come down this far, but it was just fun to see the river, see fish, crawdads. And again, fairly safe river. Like I floated a huge section of the river like that, and I really wasn't worried about it. So here I'll often see guys who are maybe out on kayaks who are really into fishing. Like that guy looks like he's fishing. I'm thinking out here you're going to be catching bass, so you're probably skipping stuff across the water. Got some guys hanging out there, or maybe girls, can't really tell, holding onto the buoy. Now you kind of see too that we're onto a gravel path. There's a Lime bike, so if you were to come here and you wanted to get around, take a bike, you could totally take that bike. And the Greenbelt is always gonna kind of flip-flop between gravel, paved. I should have probably gone the other side. I know it's paved over there, but this is kind of fun too because you can kind of see how wooded and rugged it is, which I always love. With young kids, it's fun to take them to as rugged places as possible. I'm seeing you everywhere now. You guys have been on my film 3 times now. So like over there, I see some people out in the bushes. I've hung out there with my kids before. It's kind of jungly. The kids can run around. If they want to get in the water, they can get in the water. Got a little rope swing going on. Whew, kind of pops there at the end. I have yet to see a really safe looking rope swing on this river. If you like bird watching, there's some beautiful birds out here. This is kind of where the ponds kind of come to an end. We're back to pavement, yes. It's so pretty back here. Okay, the place I want to show you guys is directly over there. I see somebody in the river. Wonder if they're swimming or fishing. I bet they're fishing. So let's go ahead and cross the bridge up here. We'll see them from the bridge. Got a kid and his dad going for a walk. Oh, got a handful of people out. Nope, not fishing, just lounging. Chairs, getting waist deep, got the dog. Yeah, so you can see anywhere on the river, if you can find a spot to pull off, you can probably find a good place to hang out. All right. So here is something that is brand new. And you're gonna have apartments for lease here, but you're gonna have more restaurants, things to do. I totally forgot to bring my lock, so we're really gonna test out. I wanna show you guys this, so we're gonna test out if this bike is gonna get stolen or not. So I'm trying to think a good place to store it so it doesn't get stolen. As I was just talking to you guys about how I had this in the back of my pickup truck. So let's just park it next to these other bikes. Cut right through here. Boop. So here we got Tim's Burgers. Kind of feel like you're on a cruise ship here. Kind of slants up. Got a guy with a skeleton up there looking at us. I might mispronounce some of these things, but we got Boa Boy, so sushi, cocktail, steamed buns. Laissez-faire, more wine for all you wine lovers. You'll get your fix here. It's kind of interesting. So again, if you walked out there, there'd be some trails here. They kind of got some sand set up. Nice outdoor seating, shaded. Shaded in the summertime. Got some nice rocks. Some water features. You got the boardwalk entrance, the leasing office right there. Chicken in a barrel barbecue. And that looks like it might be it. And my bike was still here, so.
All right, you guys have seen a ton, but now let's change it up a little bit. Let's hop into a neighborhood. We're gonna do a driving tour of the Boise Bench, and additionally, my business partner Spencer is gonna be joining us on this one.
We are on the Bench. The Bench is located in between the airport and downtown. It's a lovely little area, kind of surrounded by some freeways, but very, very unique. So today we're gonna show you around. We're gonna show you what this area is like. We're gonna jump into a few homes at varying price points.
We're on the northern edge of the bench right now. We just left some kind of the 1920s Spanish style homes. Over to the left is a nice 55 plus community that overlooks Ann Morrison Park into downtown. Has great views. Ann Morrison is a really big park that has all activities from disc golf to softball. These homes along the northern rim are amazing homes. They don't come up for sale very often. When they do, they go very quick. You get different styles up on the north rim. You got the Spanish style, you have the Tudor style that's more in the 40s, even all the way to mid-century modern, just what the Bench is really known for. These are some of the most prime locations for homes on the Bench with the views of downtown. A lot of these are very well maintained, just an amazing section of properties. We're just ending on the southern most tip of the bench itself. Down below us is Ann Morrison Park, which is amazing. Has the dog park, access to the Greenbelt within just a few minutes. You know, anywhere on the Bench, it's really nice because at its maximum, you have 10 minutes to the Greenbelt or 10 minutes to the airport. It's just a great spot. It's centrally located to get to many spots in Boise very quickly. Those are interesting ones. That's a pool. Some of those HOAs in there are so expensive, even for that one. Now we're turning into Morris Hill Cemetery. It's the dead center of town. I'm sorry, I had to do that. This actually cemetery was one of the reasons the Boise Bench got built, because it was on the outskirts of the original downtown. I mean, the cemetery is well over 100 years old. They started putting infrastructure around from downtown for people to get here to come see their loved ones, which just helped expand, you know, the whole area and what it is today. All right, now we want to take you to Craig and myself's actually favorite coffee shop, Primal Coffee. They have an amazing Primal Latte that is something you got to get. It's life-changing.
All right, so again, Primal Coffee is a great place to get a coffee drink. It's one of the best coffee places in town, I think, and this is the Primal Latte.
Primal Latte. Primal's awesome. It has that kind of funky feel inside. Plus, in the weekends, one of the employees actually is a chef. So they do a dinner on Friday and Saturday nights, and it changes every single week. It's super cool.
Again, great things about the Boise Bench that you can't really find in other places around Boise. Another great thing that we have on the bench is this right behind me. So we have the Wild Child, which is great for burgers. We have Push and Pour, which is great for coffee. And then we got the Still, which is going to be really delicious ice cream. And again, it's things like this that really kind of create the culture and vibe of the bench. Okay, so now we're pulling out of kind of where Push and Pour is. What do you like about this little pocket?
Well, I mean, I love Wild Child. I'm going to go out on the limb here. I think it has one of the best burgers in Boise.
We do have...
What? Do you disagree?
Well, no, I do like it. I was going to, just as a side note, we have In-N-Out. I don't think In-N-Out is great at all.
No, it's hyped. It's hyped.
I think it's beyond hyped.
It is hyped.
I think it's subpar. So anyways, again, Wild Child's really nice. Wild Child is... The owners of Wild Child have a couple places.
They do. The Wilder. Best pizza in Boise, too.
Yep.
So maybe I'm biased, but...
to get drinks.
Yeah. And then the Still. I mean, I think Still has the best ice cream in Boise for sure.
I would disagree with that.
What?
What's the other one? The Still, and then... What's the other one? It's also downtown. It's way better.
No.
I can't think of it.
No. See, it's not that good then.
Still has really, weird flavors.
I mean...
If I go there, there's often one or two flavors that I actually want to try. Everything else I feel like is a little weird or too rich.
It depends.
But that's just my opinion. It's all opinion. My kids love it. My kids freaking love it.
They have a bunch of variety, right? They have vegan, then they have your regular ice cream, and then they do the booze infused. So those that like alcohol and sweets at the same time, it kind of hits both ways.
So as you guys are seeing right here, the bench is interesting. It's like you have so much variety. I mean, you got the mechanic shop off to the right. You have homes on the left. I would say the bench is a nice mix of kind of commercial, residential, and it kind of weaves throughout all on the bench.
Yeah.
Schools, community schools, charter schools.
Yep. And we just passed an elementary school.
Yep.
You know, you have Bishop Kelly, that's a private Christian high school. So there's a lot of walkability and great bike paths too. So especially on late
on the road right now, you have a designated bike area. The city's getting a lot better at finding ways to make things more bike friendly. I bike around a lot in the summer, so I kind of know the paths that I take, and we often run these routes. This is a really busy street. We try to stay off this street, but we love cutting through these neighborhoods over here.
There's great neighborhoods. I mean, it mixes, right? It's over 100 years of variety of different homes, from Spanish style all the way to mid-century modern, which is what it's really known for.
That's why I chose the bench, was mid-century modern.
Yeah.
And we found a beautiful mid-century modern, exposed beams, just a really classic feel, good architecture. It stands the test of time.
It does.
So we're going to
Hillcrest Country Club right now. So we're going to go up, on basically the southern part of the bench.
Why do they call it the bench? Benches on benches.
I know, benches on benches.
If you don't know Boise, you're like, the bench. So it's raised up above the city.
Yep.
Where the train depot is. I did my intro at the train depot, and you kind of look onto the city. It's like a classic view of the city. Like if you type in Boise, Idaho, you're going to see the photo from the train depot looking down onto the city, because you have, what is that, Ninth or Vista? Vista cutting straight, Vista and Ninth.
And turns into Capitol,
cutting straight in, like you could see the Capitol building. But the bench is raised up, so they call it the bench.
Yep.
And then there's benches on the bench.
Yep. I mean, there's like 8 different neighborhoods, right, that are strategic if you look on the map.
Central Bench, there's
the Depot Bench.
Yep. Yeah.
West
I just kind of think about it like the bench.
Yeah, just a big pocket just right above.
Awesome. So here we're hitting Overland right now, another main thoroughfare.
Well, what's nice,
east to west.
Yeah, I mean, what's nice about the bench, like right now, we just left, 5 minutes ago in Morrison Park, and now we're right to 84. So we can get to the freeway. The airport is, at the furthest part away from the bench. From the airport, you're 10 minutes or less.
Between downtown and the airport, it's like 9 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you live anywhere on the bench, you're probably within a 9-minute shot of the airport.
Yep. Or the Greenbelt.
Same
thing. So it just gives that, and again, you see all the nice neighborhoods and, the depot. I mean, it is mixed, right? There's some neighborhoods now up here that are great, right? Streets. You go down another street.
Yeah.
It could be a mix. Like that's why a lot of, investors are looking for opportunities up here as well.
Yeah, and one house that we're going to be highlighting in this video, hopefully, is going to be a house that could be a good investment opportunity. So what you're going to see on the bench today is the fact that it's very diverse. You could go get a $3 million home with a view overlooking the city. You could get a great starter home. You could get a great investment opportunity. You could get into an old, established, mid-century, beautiful neighborhood with sidewalks, with mature trees.
Yep.
You just have a lot of variety. And in talking about the Greenbelt too, The Greenbelt is a trail that runs on kind of both sides of the river, depending on where you're at, all the way from Eagle all the way up to Lucky Peak. And you do have somewhat good access to it from the Boise Bench, though it can get better and the city's working on it. But even just where we're at over by Wild Child, if you were back in that community, the Greenbelt actually dumps into that neighborhood up there.
It does.
So you could easily get to it without taking any main streets.
Yeah, it's awesome. And in Morrison Park, which is, right at the base of the bench, right before downtown,
Yes.
that's where the end of the river
part.
I know, it's right where the river flow ends. So, I mean, it's a rite of passage if you're here in Boise. I always tell anybody that's visiting, especially if you're here in the summertime, is to go do that river flow. It's like 2 hours. It's family friendly. It's a great thing to do when you're coming and visiting.
All right, tell everybody what they're seeing.
Well, we're
climbing a hill.
Yeah, we're climbing another bench.
Another bench, a bench on a bench.
No, we're coming up to Hillcrest Country Club. So this is the oldest, most established, golf course here plus country club, because we have another one in the north part of Boise, Crane Creek. But this is just a really stately area, I guess is the best way to put it. Awesome homes up here. We'll drive through and you can see some of these neighborhoods. This whole area, there's really not one house that's not maintained. So it's
very nice. Right here, you're in the center. So whether you go left, right, back, some beautiful homes in this area.
This is Hillcrest Country Club. This is a clubhouse. They just renovated it, actually really nice. It is stately. It has more of that, traditional country club feel. Awesome driving range. And then the Boise Open is here on the Corn Ferry Tour. It's always a fun event.
So here you're kind of seeing like that house right there, a nice looped driveway, hedges that are taken care of. I actually got caught in a rainstorm right here on a bike ride with the kids, and we hid under this tree right here until it passed. I was not expecting it. We're all in t-shirts and we're just getting pelted. But yeah, beautiful trees, beautiful landscaping, nice old homes, and then some updated homes here. If I pan left, the houses on the left are going to be homes with a view.
Yeah, and I mean, on the bench itself, you will find some infill. And for those that don't know that, it's really just if homes are built in the 60s era, an infill is where new construction comes, right? Where they're going to build new houses. And you do see that a lot more, in the bench itself.
Now we're coming up to the canal. So the Boise River cuts down through the valley, and then there's tons of little offshoots of canals that cut all through the valley. Really helped with irrigation back in the past. Yeah. Additionally, too, depending on where you live, you could have access to that canal water, and you could be paying $30 a year for water to irrigate your yard. I have a friend who lives further over on the bench. He pays $30 a year. It's just oh my gosh. So that's something to think about. If you're buying a home, that could be a possibility for you.
Yeah. Now we're kind of getting closer to the freeway. The one thing about this area, once we get up here, is you got to, especially if it's a worry for you on road noise or for airport, right, for planes. When you get a little bit higher up and closer to the freeway, that's only, a concern that could be for some people.
And something to talk about the airport, right? Because we want to make sure, in fact, there goes a plane. Maybe you just saw it.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that you're buying a home that's going to be easy to resell in 5 to 7 years or however long you live there. So we don't want to try to sell you a home that you're going to have a hard time selling. So one thing to think about that is the airport. Yes, you're close to it. The nice thing about it is the planes are coming in east to west. So I live pretty close to the airport. Out our front window, we can see the planes, but we don't hear too much of the noise. We're not really in their path for noise. Though we do have helicopters and Cessnas that fly over, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
You do also have the military that does a lot of flying with.
Like Gowan Field.
What are those planes that you often see?
The A-10 Warhogs?
Yes, the Warhogs.
Yeah.
Those are really fun to see.
And those are awesome. But yeah, coming into this neighborhood too, you can see just a lot of really well-maintained houses. Yeah, a lot of great single level. There is actually benches. Excuse me. Benches. We keep talking about benches. No, there's actually a lot of homes with basements here, believe it or not. A lot of these homes.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Very cool in the summer. Yep.
Yeah, a lot of times you don't realize you see these houses and you think they're small, and then you don't realize that they're 2,800. Yep. They're bigger than you would think. And just
I'm a big fan of having a single level house with a basement.
Yeah.
Less siding to take care of, less windows.
Yeah.
You don't have the look of a big, huge house.
The only thing I get with a concern with that is just water intrusion because of a basement.
True, but it's an old house and you can see if it's stained at this time. Like my basement's dry as well.
Yeah. Well, it's just something to keep in mind. Basements are great options. It's just sometimes people are like, people are like, hey, I'm up on the bench. I'm not down below the valley. I don't have to worry about water. That's not true, right? So it's just something to think about. It's definitely something that's a great option. You just got to be conscious of that when you're going through the process of buying a home up here. Right now, we're up on the bench looking at a really good example of a mid-century modern renovated house. But before we get to that, I want to show you some of the canal systems. So here, this is where water comes down from Lucky Peak that runs into our canals that is fed through the backsides of houses. You can see the pump right here where it's pressurized. It's great for these neighborhoods because you pay $30 a year or so and you can get all the water you want for about 8 months out of the season. This is a great example of a renovated mid-century modern house. This is priced right around $650,000. This house is 5 bedrooms, 2 baths. It's just under 2,500 square feet, and it has a below-grade basement. So from the street, looks like a small house, but it actually packs in a lot of square footage. All right, we're out in the garage right now, but I wanted to bring up a good point about some of these renovated houses. They're great options if you don't want to have to do a bunch of work, especially if you're coming here for the first time and relocating. Some of the things I look for example, is this panel. Upgraded electrical, we know that it's taken care of. We go through the house, there's things that you can see, at least with my background, to show that there's no shortcuts. In addition to going to the city, checking on permits, making sure it was done the right way, so you don't end up getting a house that is a huge mess where it's going to cost you lots of money to fix any problems. So the great thing about this particular house is it's just at a 1/4 acre, right? So you have tons of space here to do farming if you want, mini gardens. You have parking over here, so if you want a boat, you can have it because there's no HOAs. Also, you can do an ADU, which is an additional dwelling unit. We could talk about that in a little more detail, but basically you can get another house back here. So if you have a parent, you don't want them too close in the house, they can be just back far enough away from you, but they're there when you need them. Probably the best way to describe this house, eclectic. It has a lot of different rooms and, tons of opportunities if you wanted to invest and do a lot split. You wanted an ADU, which it has in the back for different renters, but it definitely has some unique charm. This house is priced just under $940,000. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath in the main part of the house. It's, right around 3,300 square feet.
So to start things off with, you have the garage just to the right of the house here. You're going to have a 2-car garage in the front, and then in the back is an extra hangout space. At one point, it was like a recording studio, but now they have it staged as a bedroom. And then on the back part of the lot, you have an ADU. Interesting ADU. You can see in these images, it's really quaint, a little small, a lot of different rooms. You got a bedroom, you got a washer and dryer. And then up above that, you have another room that's got a kitchenette in it. There is no bathroom though. And then on the far side of the lot, this lot is shaped like an L. Over there, you have a garage, which is currently being rented out to somebody who wants a shop. So they're currently renting out for $180 a month. Additionally, there is a little camper on site that is currently rented out by a travel nurse. And then when you come back to the house, you have a really nice kind of courtyard feel, backyard, covered dining area with the original kind of grapevines that were here when the house was created. All in all, I think Spencer said it right. It's a very eclectic house with a lot of kind of nooks and crannies and also a lot of buildings on site. But again, this is listed right around $940, and so you kind of see the variety that we're seeing here on the bench and the uniqueness that the bench has to offer. So we're here on the bench, but something I want to point out to you guys. We're currently looking at that house right over there, but look at the neighbor's house. If you're into mid-century, you can find some really unique gems of mid-century homes kind of scattered throughout. I would say this definitely falls into mid-century modern, but really interesting house. And again, you'll find those kind of sprinkled throughout the bench here in Boise.
And to think all we were going to show you is all the nice homes. No, just kidding. Really, this is a great example of the bench on some of the houses that are fixed up and ones that have great opportunities. So this one in particular is really good for first-time home buyers. They're willing to put a little sweat equity into the home. This is also great for investors. So let me get into this house. This is just at about 1,600 square feet. It's priced just under $400,000. It's a 4-bedroom, 1-bath. Now, there is a lot of 1-bathroom houses on the bench. A lot of them will have 3 or 4 bedrooms, but there's a lot of 1-bathroom houses. So this house is a 1/4 acre, which makes it really nice for space for a garden, but also for an additional dwelling unit. So again, for those investors or for even first-time home buyers that really want an opportunity to have some sweat equity in a property, it's a great option to add them in the backyard. Just got to go through some city planning, which I've done before. I'm always happy to help people, whether they're first-time home buyers or investors, to go through that process to either get a great investment property to have value add, or just for those home buyers that just want something to make it their own.
Okay, Alphonse's Deli on our right. We're on Vista. You also got Bikes and Beans, which is a coffee shop / bike shop. We're coming up on McDonald's on the left, but we have a strip mall off to the right. You got Jack in the Box, McDonald's, the UPS store.
Yeah, don't forget about Red Bench Pizza.
Red Bench Pizza on our right. I go to there. You got a Starbucks in there. You got the dollar store if you like gummy bears like
What about
me.
Lee's Candy?
If you like gummy bears like me, you can get the gummy bears for $1 versus like $3 at the gas station.
No, you got to go to Lee's. It's like C's Candy, but local.
Yeah,
Lee's
and then on the
Candies.
left, we got sushi. You got a Taco Time. Taco Times are always so funny. They're always so hit and miss.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to get. I feel like they did not franchise
It's
well.
it's fresh ingredients, though. Better than Taco Bell.
Albertsons runs sushi out the front, and you know what they say to advertise their sushi? They
What?
say clean ingredients. I'm like, I don't know if I'd use the word clean when talking about sushi.
Yeah.
Fresh sounds way better.
But
anyways,
it's good.
This is Vista, 2 lanes each side. You got a turn lane in the middle. If you live on the bench, if you're on this side, you're going to take Vista all the time. This will take you straight downtown. It also literally will run you straight into the airport.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're turning on to
Kootenai.
Kootenai.
This is probably one of the best examples of the bench as far as the nicest area without a view, right?
Some of my favorite houses are off of or on Kootenai.
Yes.
And I hate what they did back there. that you have
Well,
to
these
go
little things we have to go through, that's one thing I don't like
They
about the
try to
street.
slow it down, but
It's like just put speed bumps.
yeah. So this is a good bike route depending on where you're going. I'll often take this bike route to get from A to B. Again, good sidewalks, beautiful trees, really beautiful mid-century modern homes. A lot of people take care of their homes in this area. Also, really large lots.
Yeah.
Depending on where you're hitting. Like
Yeah.
you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, that backyard goes forever.
Yeah, just really tucked back. And these are great streets to go on to get to.
Where are
the
you
Greenbelt.
going to go? I would go right.
Well, we can. I mean, we can go
right.
down.
Go
We
right.
got to see all
I'll
these.
show you a beautiful route. Go right and then take a left right there.
Yeah, so there's a variety, not just of different price points. I mean, there's houses here from 600 all the way up, to $1.5 million just in this spot.
I love finding the little pockets back in these neighborhoods. Something I like about this street specifically, it's a really quiet street. You have a park on the corner up here. And again, you have some beautiful houses. There's a cul-de-sac off to our right, but really cute, quaint houses, all really well taken care of.
Yeah, all through this area, you got houses in the 20s up into the 50s, for that mid-century modern.
Love that house
like
right
all
there.
these, just super well taken care of. Just has a good feeling, doesn't it?
Yeah, really quaint. Again, really nice, tucked away, classic neighborhood park off to our left. A hidden gem of a beautiful mid-century tucked right back in there.
Some of these houses too actually, get a view of the foothills too. So if you get in the right location, a lot of them will have a great view. So what's so nice with these, they're just not super busy traveled streets. So you can get, again, right down to the Greenbelt, get to the train depot. But a lot of these homes along here you can see have just really well maintained. People are updating, take pride in ownership in these houses. So you have a middle school here. You also have an elementary down over the way. And then also the high school not too far. So a lot of schools that are walkable as well, which is really nice. If you have younger kids and you're going to be here, you can walk them to school. Yep. So now we're on Rose Hill. So Rose Hill has that mix of not homes, but also industrial, right? Commercial. Because you've never been to Amaru up here, right? Up at the convection place for a cupcake?
No.
Trying to stay lean?
And I don't want to tell my kids about it.
You don't have to eat the whole thing, just go split it, right? Or take a bite of it.
I'm fine going to the ice cream place and that being our splurge for the kids.
Okay.
Kids eat too much sugar these days, Spencer. And adults eat too much sugar these days. The less nice places I know about, the better it is for me.
It's moderation. Moderation. That's what I
We
say.
do too much sitting now in our lives.
We're sitting right now.
I know. We do too much sitting, so I need to stay away from that.
Look, Amaru,
See?
I told you.
Yep, I've never been
right there. Awesome cupcakes.
I'm gonna forget what I
gluten-free
thought.
too. So like my girlfriend's mom, she would love that.
She's a glutard.
She's a gluten.
My wife used to be a glutard. And then after the pregnancy, she wasn't gluten intolerant anymore.
Oh my goodness. I think the thing about this area is as we move a little bit further west to our left, back in these neighborhoods, this is probably the best example of kind of hit or miss streets, right?
Yeah.
Where some of the homes are definitely being updated, but
You'll hit a nice street,
Yeah.
you'll hit a nice neighborhood, you'll hit a nice house, and then all of a sudden you'll hit some stuff where it's like it can use some tender love and care. Describe this area.
Well,
we're going to see a house
yeah,
in this neighborhood.
I mean, they call it gentrification. Let's call it what it is. I mean, some of these neighborhoods are hit or miss. I mean, they're still really safe, very family friendly. It's just these are up and coming neighborhoods. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, a good spot.
Like, look,
if
I
you
mean,
want to...
off to your left, been renovated. I mean, you have a lot of pride and ownership still. It's just, again, it doesn't have the consistency of some of the other neighborhoods.
Yeah, but I would say this could be a very, really up and coming neighborhood, especially with the development that's happening locally, commercially, and your proximity to the city is phenomenal.
Well, that's the thing. They're not making any more land in Boise, right? And so that's why.
Especially the bench.
Yeah, especially
You're
the bench.
enclosed by the freeways. It is what it is.
Yeah. Bench is just a great spot because, again, you're close to everything. All right, I promise there are single level houses on the bench, but today we wanted to come to this house as a great example of a great renovated property. This house is priced just at $550,000. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's right around 1,800 square feet, and it does have a basement on this one. But, you know, a great thing that happens a lot is we showed up here and we actually had the contractor here. So I sat there for 15, 20 minutes, talked to him about it, asked him about his experience, asked him what he did in the house. And he's like, hey, I took it down to the studs. I did all the electrical, plumbing, all the things that he did just make me feel comfortable to relate to someone like you that's going to buy a house to feel good about what you're purchasing. All right, we're in this renovated house right now. This builder has done a really good job of doing really quality work. You can see that there's, you know, really no corners cut. Like even if you come over this way here, what he's done is he decided the garage was kind of small, so he decided to make a nice bigger landing for the secondary unit that's downstairs. If you want to use it for kids, you know, lock them in there with the refrigerator. One great thing about this house, again, is that you don't have an alley. You actually have a legal street behind you. So you can actually pull the power and water. You can do an ADU back here, whether it's you have grandparents that are moving here, you have kids from college, or you just want to rent it so you can make some extra money. It's all great options.
All right, now let's take a different angle and do a kind of unique map tour via hood maps.
Miserable traffic, abso-freaking-lutely. Boring, generic. Yep, a lot of people feel that way. Houses sliding off the hill. Yeah, that was a bad one. Wanna be Portland. Rich people pretending to be poor. Wow, look, giraffe, blue stuff, very much so. Way to go, BSU. Your dad's dad loved this spot. And today I'm gonna walk you guys through the Boise, Idaho hood maps. And yes, you heard that right. That is what the website is actually called. They call it hood maps, and people describe what the areas are in a way that a typical map is not gonna do it. Let's go ahead and jump into it. We'll just work, let's see, we'll start over here on the right. A way out. Not sure why they said that, except for everything kind of ends right here in the city, right? This is downtown Boise. This is kind of on your way out. River tubes. This is the best. Now we're kind of into southeast Boise right here. I'm actually gonna turn off these colors, see if that makes it a little easier. Yeah, let's do that. This is going to be southeast Boise. This is where the Boise River, which is absolutely amazing. Definitely one of the crown jewels of Boise, Idaho area. But river tubes, you got Barber Park right there, and that's where everybody kind of puts into the park. So you show up to the park, you rent a tube, and then you can take off down the river, and you'll actually float it all the way through here. You'll keep going through here, and you'll get out. I'd say right here is where you get out. So it's a beautiful float. You get to see maybe some wildlife back in this area. We got beaver. I've seen a bobcat in this area, deer, even more Californians. A lot of great developments have gone in over here. You got the Harris Ranch over here, a couple communities. In fact, one community, Boise Hunter Homes, which I just recently highlighted, is building some homes up on this ridge line right here. And so some really beautiful properties, but those are in the $1-2 million range. And typically a lot of locals definitely feel like, who can afford that? And then people usually say, well, the Californians can afford it. Houses sliding off the hill. Ugh. Yeah, so that was bad news. There were some homes that were built up on this hillside. This article, you can go look it up if you want, if you're intrigued by that. But ultimately, some houses kind of got condemned. The land shifted, and the houses were just done for. So whoever did the building on that ended up with quite the problem on their hands. But that's the classic, like, where was that development where the houses slid off? And it's like, well, it was right there. There's actually a really fun hike right through here. If you come on a scouting trip, it could be a good hike to go do if you're looking to get out and be active while you're here. It's going to be called Table Rock, and you actually kind of see that from that hike up Table Rock. You can kind of look over and see where those houses are. Larry Johnston left a mess here. So Larry Johnston, he was a guy who came to Boise to do some work, ended up doing some stuff with Albertsons. That stuff kind of went south. He was kind of in a position to maybe help the economy and Albertsons, but none of that really happened, and kind of made a mess of things here. Cost Albertsons a lot, and the Albertsons family has had a big impact on the Treasure Valley. We have lots of parks because of them. This is where they essentially started Albertsons, so that's definitely part of the history of Boise, Idaho. So right here, busy road and campus bars. You got Boise State University right here. And because of that, whenever you got a college, it's like, okay, well, where do all the college kids go? And honestly, it's kind of all right here. This is all like college housing. This pocket specifically, If you go into a grocery store there or a coffee shop, you're just going to see a ton of college kids. You'll see things that are catered to college kids. Like there's a pita pit right here, which I actually really like pita pit. This area is really clean over here. I would totally agree with that. So again, if we zoom out a little bit, this is going to be kind of east, southeast Boise. And it feels fairly new. Yeah, just that side of town is really clean. But I find a lot of Boise is really clean, probably a lot cleaner than where most people are coming from as they're thinking about relocating here. All right, let's kind of zoom in on downtown here. So first we got blue stuff, totally makes sense. That's gonna be our stadium. We got a blue field, a really great field. If you come to a game here, I would encourage you to stay on this side of the stadium. So that'd be the west side of the stadium. And the reason I say that is because then in the evening, you're not gonna have the sun in your face, but you also have a great view of the Boise foothills. And so it's really fun to watch a game and also see the beauty of the foothills. It really makes me appreciate the city when I sit there because I'm like, man, what a gorgeous view. We'll give that one a thumbs up for sure. Wow, look, giraffes. That is literally something I've probably said in my YouTube videos. So something cool about the Boise area is that right here, you got the Boise River and then BSU. And then as soon as you jump across this bridge, there's a pedestrian kind of cycling bridge right there. You're going to have the zoo right in front of it. And then one of the first things that you come up to is going to be a tall fence, but then on the other side are giraffes. And the giraffe's head pokes over the fence. So whenever I'm riding out there with my kids on the bike, it's always like, can we see the giraffe's head? So you'll probably think the same thing. The first time you see it, especially if I didn't tell you about it, you'd be like, not what I expected to see in Idaho is a giraffe's head poking over a fence. Let's see, new expensive apartments. Yeah, you're going to have, this is your downtown area. You're going to have apartments, condos. There's actually a very, very expensive condo for sale right now that somebody reached out to us about. Very interesting. I'll show some photos of it here. If you wanted to get a really luxurious condo, that's something you could totally do here. Boise's really fun to walk around. If you ever come and you're coming on a scouting trip, or if you live here, or whatever it is, I'd encourage you to go walk around, especially if you're coming on a scouting trip. Like if you're thinking about moving, take a morning and go get some coffee, go to Blue Sky Bagel. I really like their breakfast bagels. I'm a big fan of breakfast bagels. I just love them. Whenever I travel to towns, I love to see what kind of bagel sandwiches they have for breakfast. I would encourage you to go walk around. There's some great dining places. Feel free to text me for recommendations. I don't want to give them all away on the YouTube channel, though I have mentioned them in previous videos. So lots of apartments there, bars, yep. Wannabe Portland, man, can I relate to that because I totally agree with that statement. But they have a section in Portland that is kind of up against the hill a little bit. It is a lot older. It's got a really charming street. I think it's 23rd. It's amazing how quickly you forget things. But I would say, yes, that section of Portland absolutely feels like this section. And I would say they're probably calling it Wannabe Portland, not just because of that, but probably maybe for some of the kind of people that move there, maybe some of their political beliefs and their leanings and things that you see. If I plopped you down in the middle of that and you're familiar with Portland, you might think you're in Portland. I'll leave it at that. That area, it's very desirable. Lots of older homes that have been fixed up, a very high price point as well. But it comes with proximity to a lot of great amenities, parks, great walkability, great grocery stores, Hyde Park, which is a great place for food, coffee, drinks, dining, dinner, bicycle shops, candy shops, ice cream shops, and it's also very, very charming. So this is the military reserve. So this is a really fun area to get out. We do have a bike park over there, so that's probably why they said bikes. But then we also have all these foothills up here, so great for hiking, obviously biking, taking your mountain bike out. Rich pretending to be poor hipsters. Okay, this is great. I can relate to this one too. I feel like this also kind of correlates to Portland, wannabe Portland area. This, in my mind, kind of all blends together a little bit. Again, you have some great old homes. Like I said earlier, Hyde Park is actually right in here. You have Camel's Back Park right up here. But some of the same things that I said about the wannabe Portland totally rings true to this area, right? Beautiful old homes. And again, not cheap by any means. This is what we call the North End here. Lovely area. But rich people pretending to be poor hipsters. You look at some of the houses and you're like, that can't be that expensive. And then you come to find out it's $800, $900, $1 million. It's funny because a home you could buy there, in terms of opportunity costs, I mean, you could get something a lot larger. If you were to head west, you get something with, you know, a lot bigger piece of land. Here, you're going to have smaller chunks of land, smaller homes. You're probably going to see a lot of Land Cruisers in that area, Westphalias. You probably get the picture a little bit. All right, now if we hop down a little bit right here, somebody put LMAO, laugh my blank off. You thought we had trains, didn't you? So we have the Boise Depot, which is going to be right here. No trains are really actively using that. There is an old train that used to run on that that is parked there. But the Boise Depot, very iconic. A lot of photos that you see if you type in Boise, Idaho are like taken from the train depot facing towards the city. I would say if you do get a chance and you are a bit of a history buff, you'd probably enjoy swinging up there and hearing the history behind it. I found it to be very, very interesting. And I bet if you're into that kind of stuff, you'd probably enjoy it as well. All right, let's see. Longest road ever. Okay, that's going to be State Street. So this is 84 at the bottom. Remember, 84 is going to be taking you, east to west through the Treasure Valley. But you see, if you get off 84 and you want to travel up here, you don't really have many options. Well, State Street is going to be one of them. So State Street starts all the way here, cuts you all the way out to Eagle and Star, Middleton, and all the way to 84. So it is a very long road. A lot of people use it to get to and from the Treasure Valley. A lot of people will commute on it. Me and my family will typically drive down it. We take our kids to school out in Eagle, so we're often driving it a couple times a day. All right, now if we just move left of that, like surfing, but without the waves. Okay, so this is going to be the Boise Wave. I love this area. Another great kind of cherry on top for the city of Boise. If you like surfing, if you're a Californian coming up out of here, we cannot offer you ocean waves, but we can offer you a river wave. Not exactly like an ocean wave, but something that could be really fun for you too. So it's a wave that rotates between a wave for surfing and a wave for kayaking. And again, something I love about it is that it's fresh water. If you do get it, there are two surf shops down there. One's kind of on this side, one's on this side, but you could rent a board, you could rent everything you need to go do it. And I would say, depending on the water temperatures, it's kind of nice to get a thin wetsuit if you're not in the heat of the summer. All right, so we got Garden City right here. So we got breweries. There are actually a lot of breweries and wineries going in this area. Oftentimes, if we go to an event and it's at a winery, typically we'll head to that area. It'll be like a rooftop event or something like that. So there's a lot of options in that area. Gentrification going on here. Garden City is interesting. If you talk to people and you're like, what was Garden City like 5 or 10 years ago? Often people will be like, oh yeah, like we just don't go down there. We didn't feel safe. Or, oh, I would never let my wife go down there. Or you would hear comments like that from people. But Garden City is starting to take a turn. Like I said, you're getting a lot of business that are coming in, kind of bringing a bit of the culture, kind of a nightlife, a scene, breweries, wineries. You're also getting a lot of construction happening in this area specifically. And I have a video on it if you want to dive deeper into it. It's very interesting. There's a lot of people who see a lot of opportunity in that area because there's just room for it to go up in value. And there's actually a really cool thing going on right now, right here by the wave, where there's some developers in there creating some condos and bringing in some business. It's going to be really interesting, and I'm really excited for it to be completed. If you're somebody who's looking for kind of a condo in that area, be sure to reach out to us. There are some deals that I think are off market right now. They're not listed. They're not being sold. But if you're curious to get in on something on the ground level, I have a relationship with those guys who are building out there right now. So if that interests you, just reach out. But very interesting what's happening there. I think we're going to see a lot of change over the next even in the next year, but over the next 5 years and 10 years, you're really going to see Garden City, I think, kind of find a stride and come into its own, because a lot of this other stuff has been developed, but Garden City is kind of prime for the taking in terms of development. There's just a lot of room for things to happen. In addition to that, too, another big pro of it is that it puts you really close, depending on where you're at, really close to the Boise River, which is something that makes it really interesting. All right, now we're jumping down. This is the Bench. So this is physically raised up higher than the city. So this road goes down a hill right here. This trails along the side of a hill's edge, but all they said was run down. I'm curious to add my own things to this, but they said run down. And I would say the Bench, you'll hit pockets where the home prices go up, and then you'll hit pockets where the home prices go down. And I would say it can fall into the same category of Garden City a little bit, where it's on its way up in certain areas. So there are some really fun older communities in here. Like right here is one that I'm really intrigued by, the Randolph Robertson neighborhood. It's a lot of mid-century homes, really fun, but it can be really hit or miss. There's a lot of great little homes and things happening right in this pocket right here. And then again, you'll just kind of hit these different little communities. There are some great parts about it, and then there are some parts that kind of like are coming up or in the process of going up, or maybe can feel a little bit stagnant. So people driving stupid. Okay, I'll give you that. As you can see here, this is 84 coming in. Here you have downtown Boise, so this is everybody coming out. So you imagine if you work downtown Boise and you live kind of west of the city, you're going to take 184 to get out, and then that merges right here onto 84. And this is right where things really start to get congested. You also have a Costco right here, so maybe people are swinging over and hitting that. So there's just a lot going on right here. All right, now we're kind of looking at the Meridian area. So miserable traffic, totally. So this is going to be Eagle Road. If you're driving down 84 and you're coming down this and you're like, well, I live in Eagle, well, how are you going to get there? Well, you might take State Street, but depending on where you're coming from, you might go this way, and then you might take Eagle. Eagle is huge, multiple lanes across. Out off Eagle Road here, you kind of see here like chain restaurants and traffic, shopping, miserable traffic. Sure. So you're going to get the Village, which is a really beautiful outdoor shopping area. That's where we have the burger place In-N-Out. When it came, it planted a store there. And they just launched a second location right over here by the mall. But you get like Krispy Kreme and, you know, just all the kind of chain stores that you would expect to see. I mean, this is kind of classic. There's a lot of people that live out there, and a lot of times you can just hit stop signs or stoplights depending on if they've kind of swapped it over. So there's just been a lot of growth and a lot of traffic. A lot of the development, specifically in Meridian, has been, and you can kind of see it's kind of spreading its way out through here. Boring and generic, that's often a con I can hear of that area. A lot of homes go up that maybe look a little bit cookie cutter depending on the developers. So boring and generic makes a lot of sense. I would say lacking in character sometimes. Soccer moms, totally. These are some really nice areas over here, some really beautiful communities, and you know, probably a lot of families with kids in multiple sports. And so then you get the soccer moms and the Suburbans or whatever driving all over the place. Chain restaurants, we kind of did that. Momo Land. Honestly, I don't know what the Momo Land is standing for, so we'll just leave that one alone. All right, here we go. This is going to be Eagle. Two things they've said about it: entirely white and Karens. I mean, Eagle is definitely the more luxurious, affluent place to live in the Treasure Valley. Help a lot of people move into this area. There's some great homes and some great communities. And Karens, I don't know, maybe some people have had some run-ins with some cranky people who like to stick their nose in other people's business and don't let kids be kids. But I don't know. So we'll just leave that one at that. Legacy. That's funny that Legacy made this map. So I just did a film on a new community that is just on the edge of Eagle, just kind of right up here by Highway 16. And the guy who's building that, the developer, is also the person who developed Legacy. Legacy is definitely one of your premier locations. You can actually see, if we zoom in, you can kind of see how the developer developed it. He obviously liked lakes. He wanted to put homes on lakes. And he is doing the same thing up in this new community as well. So going up and to the right here at Eagle, we have the Stepford Wives. All right. I've heard stories about this area. I'm not going to dive into the stories. Hidden Springs, interesting community. I've done some great videos on it. We know a lot of families that live up in that area. They love the community feel. There's an elementary school there. And you can see it's going to be a little bit challenging to get out of there. You have a road here, and that's a road that really weaves through the foothills. It's really beautiful, but maybe on a snowy day, you know, you have to want to be away a little bit to want to move to a place like Hidden Springs in Cartwright Ranch. You also have Dry Creek, which is another Boise Hunter Homes community right here. But Stepford Wives, yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. We'll let them describe that.
All right, if you've made it this far, you're probably obviously intrigued by Boise. Now let's go over 12 reasons why you might not want to move here.
Number 12 is going to be weather. With extreme temperatures, Boise, Idaho does not have the most forgiving climate. You will experience freezing winters here that might make you question your life's decisions.
Yeah, what have we done?
I've personally always lived in the Pacific Northwest, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana, and I would be the first one to tell you that the winters do get to me. And don't get me started on these super hot and dry summers that we have here. If you're looking for consistency and middle-of-the-road weather, then Boise, Idaho is not for you. If you're not somebody who gets really excited about 4 distinct seasons, Idaho is not going to be a good fit for you. The last thing you want to do is move here and then move away in 1 to 2 years and go through all that time, money, and stress. At number 11, we have the growing cost of living. With so many people flocking to Boise and northern Idaho, prices for everything from houses to groceries are shooting up. Do you remember when Boise was considered an affordable city?
I remember that.
Well, those days are definitely gone. Now prices are coming down, but currently the median sale price for Boise, Idaho is $487,000. For number 10 on the list, it's too much nature.
Wait, I'm confused.
Yes, you heard that right. While the great outdoors are great, there can be too much of a good thing. From local wildlife in your backyard to isolation from urban conveniences, you might start missing your urban jungle sooner than you think. Just last week, people in the north end spotted a moose that was just running through town. I mean, imagine you're sitting at Camel's Back Park, hanging out, and your kids are there, and all of a sudden you just see this moose, maybe just swinging down to the grocery co-op to get something, and now it's running back up to the foothills. Idaho is wild. It is not your major city. It is different. Coming in at number 9 is going to be the slower pace of life. Now, this might be a selling point for some of you, but for others, it could easily be a con. This laid-back lifestyle might feel a bit too laid back if you're really used to the hustle and bustle of a big city life. And then in addition to that, you might think that you want that. Like if you're moving away from a big city and you're thinking, man, I want that laid-back lifestyle. But then you might get here and you might find that it isn't what you want.
Oh, maybe you're right.
Can you handle a city that is just not a booming LA or a booming Seattle? Now, granted, Boise is one of the largest metropolitan areas in Idaho, so it's got that going for it in comparison to everything else, but it's nothing compared to some other major cities. Coming in at number 8, we have the food scene, or lack thereof. If you would call yourself a self-proclaimed foodie, Boise might leave you a bit unsatisfied.
I don't know if I can handle it.
The culinary scene here isn't quite as diverse as you're going to find in some larger cities. So if you do end up coming, be prepared to kind of brush up on your culinary skills and start to find some good YouTube channels you like that can push you in the direction you want to go. And if you want, ask me in the comments down below and I'd love to make a recommendation for some YouTube channels that I like with some food that I think is fabulous. Coming in at number 7 is going to be transportation woes. Public transportation in Boise is, well, it could be better. If you don't own a car, getting around could be a real hassle. Bike friendly? Yes, but not exactly bus friendly. At number 6, we have limited job opportunities. Unless you're in certain industries like tech or healthcare, finding a job that matches your career goals might be more challenging than you think here in Boise, Idaho.
So frustrating.
And at number 5, you are far from everything. Do you want a quick weekend getaway to a big city or a beach? It's not going to happen, folks.
I can't do this.
Boise is somewhat isolated from major cities and popular vacation spots. Better get used to long road trips.
Are we there yet?
The one caveat to that is that Boise does have a great airport for the size of the city. But be honest with yourself, I know a lot of you will feel landlocked if you move here. You love going to the beach. You love having things close by. Don't look at Boise kind of with these hazy glasses on that make everything look amazing.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
If you move here, it's isolating. There's nothing around us. And to add one more thing onto the far from everything thing, don't forget, Boise is surrounded by mountains, by mountain passes. So when you're considering making a drive in the winter, if you're going to do a road trip, you definitely think twice about it. Now, I've grown up with this stuff my entire life. And even I get really, really nervous about it because there's just not much you can do when you hit a patch of black ice. I remember me and my family were driving up to Moscow, Idaho, where my wife's from, and we were coming up on the pass just this side of McCall, Idaho. And sure enough, you look in the ditch and there's a car upside down. If you're coming from an area where that's just not something you deal with, know that that is something that you will deal with if you move here. And again, I don't want you to come here and be like, man, winters are tough. I hate driving. I feel isolated. I got to get out of here. Coming in at number 4 is limited diversity. Compared to other cities, Boise's cultural diversity leaves a lot to be desired. And this might be a deal breaker for you if you are used to a rich, multicultural environment. Coming in at number 3, it's too quiet. Boise's nightlife and entertainment scene are quite quiet and tame compared to other larger cities. If you are a night owl who loves concerts and late night eateries and the hustle and bustle of a big city, Boise might seem a bit too quiet for your tastes. Number 2, Boise might be too liberal or too conservative for you. So this is a tough one. It really depends on you. Boise, in terms of the rest of the state, leans pretty liberal. And that could be a pro for you or that could be a con for you. I was just talking to a family who moved up from California and they specifically moved to Eagle because Boise was a little bit too liberal for them. Now, on the flip side of that too, you might think it's too conservative. Just this last week, I was driving down the road and it is not an uncommon sight to see a huge truck flying a Trump flag. And if you saw that, you might think, gosh, this is way too conservative for me.
Nope.
So just know that if you come to Boise, you might find that it doesn't necessarily line up with what you thought it was going to be. And finally, at number 1, you are not into the outdoors. So Boise and Idaho in general has great things to do in the outdoors. The foothills, biking, motorcycle riding, quad riding, fishing, rafting, winter sports, skiing, snowboarding, snowmobiling. Yeah. So if you're somebody who's not into the outdoors and doesn't like getting out in the winter, you might reconsider Idaho or Boise as an option for you and find something else with a better climate that allows you to do things more year round. No place is perfect and Boise is absolutely no exception. And I want you guys to be honest with yourselves as you're considering a move. I know it's not easy leaving everything that you know and leaving friends and leaving family. And so think long and hard about this. And if you want to talk more about it, say you watch some of these and you're like, you know what, some of those I don't like, but I could live with them. But some of those I'm okay with. And you still think Boise would be a great place for you, then be sure to reach out. We get calls, texts, emails, phone calls every day from people just like you, and we love it. We love being your guide and helping you make the move from where you are to Idaho so that you can call Boise home.